Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to change the landscape of podcasting as you know it in professional wrestling. This is the Game Changer Podcast. Featuring the greatest asset to come out of Canada, the legendary Mr. Fretz.
The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be.
I love myself. There's something so condescending to the champ to get out of my ring.
They think they got the answers. I change the questions.
I did it all by my sweet little self. 2-time Slammy Award winner. I knew it. I'm a winner. I did it. Woo!
As well as featuring yours truly, the Game Changer, NateFNGreat.
I've had it. It's time for you to start listening to somebody else, and that somebody else is going to be me, and it's going to be right now.
The dirty secret is you need this generation more than it needs you.
You're not going to come out here and talk about how it should have been you, it should have been me, it should have been you, it should have been you, it should have been you. It should have been you 8 years ago, and it was kind of, then it wasn't, and it's not going to be again, and it's not going to happen. Just get over it.
I am the best on this microphone, in that ring, even in commentary. Nobody can touch me.
We change the game one day at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready, let's do this.
What's going on, everyone? This is the Kate Murphy of Kings of the Rings podcast, and you're listening to the Game Changer podcast only on Wrestle Addict Radio.
We don't have any dreams.
Now it's just another Friday.
So what about this?
Fuck it, we're single on Valentine's Day.
I will delete you! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, just like the final deletion of Matt Hardy has commenced on Monday Night Raw, just remember that any chance of us having a Valentine has been deleted! Any calories in my body have been deleted! Welcome to the Game Changer Podcast, the deleted edition on Wrestle Addict Radio. I am indeed the man of broken brilliance as well as Game Changer white aficionado, the one and only Nathaniel of the effing greatness. And ladies and gentlemen, very fortunate to be joining you here is the returning man who's got the shakes that'll make you quake. He's got the fries that will cross your eyes. He got the burgers that'll... Well, he's just got burgers. He is back, your lovable Canadian as well as mine, the one and only, the legendary JF, Mr. Fretz. Welcome back, good sir.
Yeah, cheeseburger Eddie. Yeah, I got my shakes here. And yes, good to be back. I talked to you off here. You know what's up. Whoever knows. All is well. And because I didn't get to do this last week after the Super Bowl, Jermaine, this is for you. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. First time in 50 years winning the Super Bowl. It's Oh, it was such a good game, and like every other playoff game they had, they came from behind to steal the show. A couple of picks later, a couple of points later, and they're back on top. Big props to the San Francisco 49ers. Did a darn good job, but you kind of fell apart in the end. You had it. So, Jermaine, and if there's any other Chiefs fans out there in Game Changer Land, hey, hit me up at the legendary JF on all social media platforms. And yeah, what a week! It's been good. It's cold as balls here, so I got some Great Lakes Winter Ale to warm me up. How are you doing, buddy?
Honestly, dude, I've been pretty good. It's been a pretty good week of wrestling, which is saying a lot, but that's also because it is on the road to WrestleMania. And guys, so much has been going on, and hey, we're going to be bringing back all the good stuff that we've been talking about. We will be talking about, of course, the Wednesday Night Wars. We're going to be talking a little bit about Monday Night Raw, as well as the big thing that's going to be happening on SmackDown. It already happened by the time we've released this, but we'll talk about that still in brief. We're going to be talking about another classic review, as well as going to predictions for NXT TakeOver Portland, which will be taking place on Sunday. So much going on here. So I do want to address this right off the bat, that unfortunately, due to the weather, which Fretz has definitely said that it sucks, I was not able to make to the ACW events that took place this past Sunday, but I had a really reliable friend who actually gave me the footage to watch the Nathan Gus versus Salem's Crane match, where it was Falls Count Anywhere. It was great. It was one of those matches that I absolutely loved. I remember being told, just watch this whenever you get a chance. I even gave them a little bit of a scoring system that we've been doing now. We're doing a different scoring system. Instead of the 5-star kind of deal, we do thumbs up now. Yeah, I actually gave the matchup itself 2 gorilla thumbs up, so that's a pretty good way to do it. I will also say this, that they actually had a bit of a brawl in the bar area. I really wish that they would have had another camera just to see what the heck happened in that bar section, because literally it was just a situation where, they left through the door, they're fighting in the bar, maybe about 10, 15 seconds, then Gus just comes right in, he's just like, ow! It's like, what happened? So, it's kind of one of those things where I'll probably have to discuss it over with the management people there, and maybe we'll have to make that one of those things a possible bonus feature for the DVDs or stuff like that. So who knows? And for those of you that are, of course, going to be celebrating the holiday, happy Single Awareness Day to you from us here at the Game Changer Podcast. Mainly because Fretz and I, we're just too good for Valentines once again in this deal. But I did have a lot of fun recording the Valentine's Day edition of the Game Changer Podcast with SoCal Val. That is going to be posted up on the Game Changer Podcast site, so definitely check that out if you get a chance. By the time that we've already released this, it's already been out, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hooray! And if you haven't, well, we blame Drew. It'll make more sense when you listen to the show. So, there's a lot of that stuff's going on, but I also wanted to talk about a couple things that are going on, because on the Kings of the Rings podcast, King Ricky did mention that there's going to be a lot of stuff going on in the build-up to WrestleMania, and it's only fair that the Game Changer talks about their contribution to the WrestleMania deal. First things first is that I will be presenting a new series on Patreon effectively after WrestleMania is done. That will be the series known as My First Year as a Professional Wrestling Fan, where I'll be taking little snippets of my first year looking back at WWE, which would be, I think I want to say it's maybe June or July of 2004, going all the way till SummerSlam of 2005. Kind of just talking about, maybe some of the ups, some of the downs, maybe go over some of the Raws that were going on during that time, some of the SmackDowns, but even looking at some of those events, because some of those events back then were pretty good, to say the least. Another thing that's going to be happening is that I will be celebrating my 5th year in podcasting, so for you guys, there is going to be some exclusive content here on the Game Changer podcast that you can expect within the next 2 months. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be wacky. There's going to be guests that are going to be appearing on here for interviews. Honestly, guys, I've got a couple of people in mind as well as lined up, so definitely tune into that, and it's only going to get bigger and better from there, and who knows, you might see a couple of cameos. Just saying. Wink, wink. Alright, so that's enough for the cheap plugs for the upcoming months, so let's get right into talking about what did we listen to this past week. Mr. Fretz, you've been gone for about 2 weeks, so you've got quite a bit of ground to cover. Unless it's the same shows that you listen to all the time. What did you listen to these past couple weeks?
Well, yes, it was the shows that I usually do listen to, like, excuse me, like Wrestle Talk and After the Bell, Steve Dangle. But I did listen to one thing called Laser Time, which is on the same network as 30-20-10, but what they did is that they talked about what kind of stuff isn't on the Disney Plus app. And that's things like, animated cartoons from the 40s about menstruation. Or
what?
Donald Duck. Yep. Disney had a whole bunch of, like, body, puberty, like, not sex ed cartoons, but educational cartoons. One of them was actually about menstruation.
Jesus.
They'll talk about things like shows that aren't on their, like, holiday specials, like, what is it? Mickey Mouse's 60th birthday party, and it showed, it was audio, so it was Mickey Mouse was on the set of Cheers, ordering, like, a root beer float. Like, ho-ho, I'd like a root beer float, ho-ho! And then the guy's like, hey, why is the pig from Toy Story talking trash with Mickey? But personally, one thing I want to see on Disney Plus is Humphrey the Bear. If anyone knows who that is,
gosh,
it's fun stuff. It's childhood classics. There's one Humphrey the Bear cartoon on Disney Plus, and it's when it's in hibernation season at whatever park it is. Donald Duck's the park ranger, and Humphrey's trying to get in, and blah, blah, blah. Let's see. There's a Ruthless Aggression Era podcast, not the one that you and I know with Levi. Shout out to them, too, but the British version by David Burnham. They just covered Backlash 2004, or as they called, Backsplash.
Backsplash 2004.
Randy Orton versus Cactus Jack at Backsplash. And that was a really, really fun show that they did. Of course, it was Cactus Jack versus Randy Orton in that hardcore match. I didn't get a chance to listen to Who Got Next, but every Sunday, I work a little bit later, most Sundays, not this coming one, so I got to listen to the Fourth Wall Podcast. Shout out to those guys. And of course, there's the usual, The Rant, 30-20-10. Cultaholic had a watch-along with watching Armageddon 1999.
Oh.
And that pay-per-view stunk. and that pay-per-view got Channel 4 in the UK in deep trouble thanks to Miss Kitty's boobs.
Damn you, Kitty. Damn you, Kitty.
And, I had the VHS of it. It was uncensored. What else was there? Then there was just everyone who's on Wrestle Addict Radio. Just those are my usuals. I didn't get a chance to get like those wrestling girls in this week or Who Got Next. It was just a pretty low key week for podcasting, except for my overnight shift. But I strategically plan those ones out.
Yeah. I'm in concurrence with most of the stuff that you said. I did get a chance to listen to King Ricky's Kings of the Rings podcast earlier today. He definitely had a very interesting viewpoint as far as the Cody Rhodes MJF segment on AEW Dynamite. I think it's one of those things that people should definitely take a listen to kind of hear from somebody who has a different perspective on this. I don't fully agree with his perspective, but at the same time, I do respect his opinion. I do see where he's coming from with that. I did get a chance to listen to a lot of those wrestling girls, and I even had like a suggestion list from them on what episodes to listen to as well as watch. Well, you could do either or. You could either listen to them on Apple Podcasts as well as so many other different deals, especially Anchor. Hey, and you know who else is on Anchor? We are. Cheap plug. Those guys are awesome. Definitely check it out. yeah, a lot of the stuff that I listen to with those wrestling girls, I'm definitely listening and thinking, man, they have so much detail and so much respect for the wrestling business that it's just absolutely fantastic to kind of hear it from, a woman's perspective. They talk about what brought them into wrestling. They talked about Raw Reunion that took place last year. They do like these retrospectives. The ones I listened to this week were for Ronda Rousey as well as Naomi. And you just hear so many things that they had to say about, especially with Naomi. They definitely have a lot of major props as well as love for Naomi, which in all honesty, can't blame them because she is definitely underrated, vastly underrated. And who knows, she may in fact be in the WrestleMania title picture come this year. You just never really know. Would have been nice to maybe have that Super Slam Down, or whatever that event's called. Who cares? Actually, one person cares, and that's Goldberg, because he's getting his next big paycheck against The Fiend. Oh, boy, we're moving on from that. But yeah, I definitely have been hyping up, those wrestling girls, and it's well earned. It's a lot of fun to listen to what they have to say. I don't know if you knew this, Fretz, but I also got into a little bit of a heated argument, where I was kind of like in the center of it, between them as well as one random fan, where they were basically asking them, what women have basically made an impact in the ring as well as outside the ring in WWE besides the Bellas. Keep that in mind. And I say AJ Lee, and it kind of starts off kind of interesting enough where, basically they state their opinion. Then this person kind of chimes in. He talks about how AJ Lee's got like 5 million Twitter followers compared to the Bella Twins have 3.9 million on Twitter, which kind of surprised me a bit. But the wrestling girls, I think it was Krista who might have been doing this, because she's the one who's kind of more vocal. She's kind of mentioned on one of her shows. She basically just talks about how they have the Twitter followers, the Instagram followers, the wine deal, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it just gets really heated really fast. And basically, I just chime in, and I think I hit the nail on the head where I basically said, "Okay, look, I'm just going to say this, and then be done." Basically, I said, the question was, who were somebody that we thought, had the same amount of success inside and outside the ring besides the Bella Twins? And I said AJ Lee. Now, granted, maybe AJ Lee's not as popular as the Bella Twins, but she's still making an impact just with a different fan nation. And it's true, because a lot of the pop culture people, they love AJ Lee. They love CM Punk. They love all the stuff that they are doing. And maybe more of the high class, or maybe more of a younger generation, they love the Bella Twins. So that was kind of where I think I defused the fuse that was kind of lit there. It's just one of those things where it's hey, I don't want us going down like a negative route. I want us to at least try to, meet on the same page here and kind of get some kind of common ground. And we did, and it was awesome. So, yeah, like I said, definitely check out those wrestling girls. Rant, of course, those guys are awesome. I did mention on Twitter that, well, actually, no, I don't think I mentioned it on Twitter. I mentioned it in the chat, but I'll mention it, in public right now. So, Mr. Shiny Head Kyle had some choice words for me because of the fact that last week I made Ant the Game Changer of the Week, and Kyle basically was just like, well, F you, Nate. So it's one of the things where like, well, that's going to get you far away from being a part of that. Now Brad's in the lead for that role. So if you want to be in my good graces there, Kyle, you got to start saying nice things about me instead of saying, F you, Nate, why am I not a game changer? It's like, well, it's because of reasons like this. If you do that, if you start shit with me, then you're going to get the repercussions. But no. Kyle's awesome. He's great, but he's still a lower end of the totem pole when it comes to this. Speaking of Disney Plus, one of the funny things that I will say that I did listen to was I listened to the first time the Eyes Up Here podcast with Francine, and I picked probably the one episode where she was probably at her most miserable because she was talking about her experience with Disney World. She was talking about some of the hotel accommodations were not to her liking, which I get it. There's a lot of things that happen like that. But when she, talks about, what these accommodations were and what kind of, she was dealing with, it's like, okay, you have a reason to kind of express this. I understand. It's not one of those things where she's coming off as bitchy. It's just one of those things where it's like, I get it. It happens. It's one of those things where this needs to be addressed. Talks about some of the things that went on, at the Disney World. I think that they mentioned like a couple rides were broken down, stuff like that. So definitely check out, Eyes Up Here podcast with Francine. It's a really good show. I need to start listening to more stuff like that. It's very entertaining. Last thing I'll definitely plug is our boys over at the Ruthless Aggression podcast. I listened to quite a bit of their stuff this week. I listened to their review of the Madison Square Garden match between Kane and Triple H, where Kane had to unmask. That was a very good show that they mentioned. I got through the entire WrestleMania review, which is about 4 hours long, which in human time is like an actual WrestleMania event. So, I will also say this, that I did mention on Twitter that they have one line in there that just made me bust a gut so bad. The other thing I listened to was Judgment Day. There's just some of these moments that they have where it just busts my gut, and I just almost die of laughter. And the one that kind of stood out to me this past week was a line where they're basically talking about, do you remember back in the day when WWE had The World, that little area in New York City?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So they're mentioning that, and they're just basically talking about how, I think they jokingly say it turned into a Walmart. So they're acting like there's a couple of Texans that are coming up to New York, and they're just like, take this picture of us in front of the giant TV. We'll just imagine it's our TV. and then I think it was Kyle with the with the zinger where he's just like, oh gosh, I'm trying not to break so easily. He's like, take a picture with us with this statue. I'm a homeless man. What are you doing? I literally fell on the ground crying, laughing at that. It's so funny. And they talk about a lot of stuff that was on the DVD features of WrestleMania 19 that I actually do remember. The interview that they had with Stone Cold Steve Austin, the one with Triple H, even the one where they talk about the one with Hogan. It's quite a sight to behold. Yes, I did say the word DVD. That's like ancient Aztec deals we're talking about right here. Oh my gosh. Because, nobody's played DVDs since 2015. Because now they got the Blu-rays and the 4Ks and all that kind of stuff. Okay, other than us, Fretz.
I'm looking at a VCR right here to my right. I got a VCR with I don't know, WrestleMania X7 in there or something.
Okay, for the kids that don't know what we're talking about, a VCR is what we, quote-unquote, old people used to watch movies with. And it was a pain in the ass, especially if the VHS did not work with your VCR. Just saying that right now. So for those of you that are thinking oh, this is tough, this thing's not working, oh, this is not, brighter pixel or something like that. Shut up. Just shut up. You still have a generation that went with VHS. So shut your mouths. You have no right to complain.
It's only 540p.
and it's one of those things where it's like, hey, back in the day, we had to rewind our stuff. We didn't have it where it was like you could just take it out and, it can just be...
Be kind, please rewind.
Right? Oh, that was a good movie, too. That's amazing. I might have to do a quote from that. But yeah, those are the kind of things that I listened to this week, and we always love plugging a lot of the people that we, listen to because they're well worth our time. So definitely check out a lot of the places that we have mentioned. We will definitely put them in the comment section as well as the descriptions in the episode. So definitely check them out, you guys. Really cool, really awesome. We're going to take our first commercial break, and then when we come back, it's time for us to talk about some news, talk about the Wednesday Night Wars, and we're going to talk about so much more, you guys. So stay tuned. We will be right back.
What is up, peeps? This is Mr. Fretz from the Game Changer Podcast, here to tell you about my new show called The 20 Bell Salute. It is a monthly 20-year look back on not only WWE pay-per-views, but also movies, music, TV, video games, and so much more. You can find this and many other exclusive shows on the Wrestle Addict Radio Patreon for only $5 a month. So join the fam and keep wrestling
Hey everyone,
real.
it's the Princess of Pro Wrestling, SoCal Val. You are listening to the Game Changer Podcast. Sending lots of love from California. Mwah.
Damn Butterfingers, I pressed a button too early. Welcome back to the Game Changer Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I'm NateFNGreat. He is Mr. Fretz, the legendary one. And quite a week to talk about as far as Monday Night Raw as well as wrestling goes. So let's just get right into it. First thing I definitely did want to talk about was the fact that they've already announced that on February 28th, the night after the Super Showdown show and the night before AEW Revolution, the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena, will be coming back to SmackDown. And you know what? You know what's actually crazy is that there have been people that are complaining about, oh, they should have made this a surprise, they shouldn't have announced it. It's like, shut up! John Cena's coming back. He's probably going to be making up like some big time deal to start a match at WrestleMania. Everybody wants to see Cena versus Velveteen Dream. I want it to happen, actually. I really do want that to be a thing. Just have Dream finish up the whole deal with Roderick Strong, and then have Velveteen Dream versus Cena at WrestleMania. Boom. Just wrestling boner right there.
Yeah, that's going to put some butts in the seats. That's for darn sure. And, you know, of course they're going to announce it because now you have a ratings ploy. And this is going to be the day after Super Letdown, so who knows how many people are actually going to make it back. So someone has to be there.
You know,
so, hey, if NXT decides to rear their pretty little heads here again, maybe we will get a little bit of the Velveteen Dream.
You know what? Honestly, that'd be... Oh, man, just beautiful. It's beautiful. So, yeah, Cena's coming back, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes. Although I will be on the road traveling to AEW Revolution during that time. So I don't think I'll get a chance to actually catch it, but maybe I'll catch it up on YouTube. As long as it builds up to something good, I'm okay with that. So, now another thing that happened this past week is that it seems like the Elimination Chamber matchup that could be headlining Elimination Chamber, which, oh gosh, can we please put it back as No Way Out? Because at least then it made sense. I hate calling the Elimination Chamber match at Elimination Chamber. It just too much words. It seemed like it was spoiled this past week. They kind of announced who the participants were going to be. I forgot to look at the exact wording, the exact participants who were in this. I remember seeing Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns was involved in there. Maybe I thought I saw Elias. I could be 100% wrong.
No.
But I just remember looking at this and thinking to myself, okay, if this is the Elimination Chamber matchup set up for March, I'm still looking forward to it. I think it's still going to be cool.
Yeah, we got might be involved in that one.
Shit, that's right.
It was Bobby Roode, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, King Corbin.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that now. I do remember King Corbin being in that and thinking to myself, great. We're just going to continue this feud between Corbin and Roman until we're dead. Just awesome.
Nakamura and Daniel Bryan.
Oh, Nakamura. Oh, wow. Yeah, please don't royally screw Nakamura again. There's only so much that I could take. Just Nakamura should have been WWE champion by now, and he's not, and it's wrong.
Agreed. WrestleMania 34 was stupid.
You know, had they just... And even if they had like a deal where Nakamura and AJ Styles just traded the belt off back and forth, what harm would have that have done? It would have done none. It would have probably added more prestige to the title. Because, I mean, that's what they did with Rock and Mankind back in 99. What's the harm? I'm sorry, just... There's so salty side of me. So, I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm looking forward to what Elimination Chamber is going to be providing. For those of you that are thinking, well, they still have to get through Super Showdown and Goldberg might be champion. No. There's no way that WWE would do that again. with him being Kevin Owens, that was one thing. I understand why they did it, because then it kind of added a little bit of another element to him and Brock match. But him crushing Bray just does not settle well with me, because this is a guy who, in all honesty, deserves to headline WrestleMania. And to be honest, it should be against somebody like Braun Strowman or Roman Reigns. Those are the top two people that I could see him battling against at WrestleMania and putting on a really good match. But yeah, and there's even an article that said that Roman Reigns does not want to wrestle Goldberg at WrestleMania. So it might even be, in fact, Roman Reigns for all we know. And to be honest, Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, they put on great matches. So seeing them at WrestleMania, I'd be okay with it. No, I'd be more than okay with it. I'd be a happy bear.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it would kind of make sense because, well, if you're looking at the history of the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend and Bray Wyatt, the Shield was definitely a part of that. But one thing in here that's bothering me is people are treating the Fiend losing at WrestleMania, which is probably going to happen, like it's the end of Bray Wyatt's career or it's the end of the Fiend gimmick. The Fiend gimmick is just getting started, and him taking a loss at Mania by a character like Roman Reigns doesn't harm his mystique at all. I still think this is going to lead down the road to Survivor Series against The Undertaker, because you have two mysterious, what's the word I'm looking for? Like magic, if you will,
entities.
Gimmicks. Pardon?
Like entities.
Yes, that's kind of what I was going for. Thank you. And it's like, look at Taker in his first year in the WWE as the Invincible Undertaker, air quotes. He took losses to the Ultimate Warrior. He took a clean loss to the Warrior. He took a clean loss to Tito Santana in Spain, mind you. He took a clean loss to Hulk Hogan, Schoolboy, and Ashes in the Eyes this Tuesday in Texas. That's why the 1992 Royal Rumble had the title on the line, because Jack Tunney was like, furthermore, no one should win the title on such nefarious means. and yet Undertaker won the title, the tombstone on the steel chair.
That was back when wrestling did not make a lick of sense, because you have to remember, we had like Mantar, frickin' Mountie, all those kind of random people. The Bushwhackers. Okay, to be fair, the Bushwhackers actually made sense. Out of all that craziness, the Bushwhackers made sense. Let's be fair.
What?
Hey, there were people that were from different countries that had other crazy ideas of how things probably worked. So to me, they made the most sense. Are you meaning to tell me that something like? Okay, never mind. Because I was actually going to say like who's Larry Papa's. Oh gosh, was it the Scholar was his name or something like that?
Genius.
Genius, thank you. But to say, you think that the Genius was somebody that could be relatable or something like that? No, I don't think so. No, he would be. He'd be that douche that's always reading books and thinking, I can say different adjectives and adverbs, and I can sound like a sentimental person. Also, bring back Damian Sandow, because I miss that dude. So, yeah, what were we talking about again? Bray Wyatt. No, I agree with you on everything that you said, that Bray Wyatt and The Fiend is one of those things that it can't be harmed with a single loss. Because people have to also remember that the freaking demon that Finn Balor created, it's not undefeated as well. He lost to Samoa Joe in a steel cage match, and did that harm the demon at all? No. Wrestling Bobby Lashley 17 times a week on Raw and SmackDown hurt him. Thank you, Johnny Gargano, for that mention. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that, in all honesty, a loss is not going to hurt him. And who knows? It could be a back-and-forth deal between The Fiend and Roman Reigns, which, honestly, hey, it would probably add more prestige to the title, because that just means that they are fighting for something that they really care about. It's a belt. Who gives a crap? It's wrestling. I don't tell you that football players are fighting over football and saying, oh, it's rigged. I'm passionate about wrestling. You're passionate about football. Get over it. whatever. I'm sorry, I'm a little salty tonight. I don't know why.
I could get salty. If we're talking about sports, you don't want me to get salty about the Maple Leafs, bro. They got their asses handed to them again.
You know, the salt is strong here, and that's mainly because of the fact that we talk about, like, for you it's hockey, for me it's people saying wrestling is fake. For you it's The Miz, for me it's anybody who says that Orange Cassidy is the worst thing ever. He's not. There are worse things in life. And honestly, here's something that's actually kind of crazy that I just realized, is that I made a comment to a friend that, yes, wrestling is kind of like the male version of soap operas. I said, I will watch any of this over a female soap opera any day of the week. And I've had like a sad epiphany where I'm just like, oh my god, did I just admit basically that the Lana deal I would watch over a female soap opera? Oh god, that is a hard pill to swallow.
I would rather watch Jersey Shore than that Lana stuff again. No, hey, no offense, Bones, and I forget which one of you guys, Bones or Haas, likes Jersey Shore. No offense, but please no.
Oh my gosh. We're getting totally off topic, but I love it. This is why I love having Fretz on the show, because yes, we get off topic, but it's fun conversation and fun for your guys' entertainment. Are you not entertained? No? Sorry. But the other thing that I wanted to talk about before we got into talking about some of the wrestling stuff is, actually this is going to tie more into Monday Night Raw stuff that we'll kind of briefly touch base on. Still no word from Charlotte as to whether or not she's going to challenge for the NXT Championship. She's just kind of like, oh, I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen and blah, blah, blah. We'll probably get an answer by Sunday. There's no way that she's not going to answer within the next week. Should we mention the awesome match that Asuka and Becky Lynch had on Raw, as well as the Shayna Baszler deal that took place this past week? Oh my gosh, that is one of those things where I think that King Ricky said it best, is that it's one of those things where it's kind of head scratching and leaves you questioning why, but it also gets you thinking, I want to watch next week's episode to find out why she did that. To me, I'm just looking at this and thinking to myself, I don't think that Shayna Baszler is like they're doing like a vampire thing with her. I think it's literally just one of those things where it's like, you try to take a chunk out of me at Survivor Series, I'm just returning the favor. In all honesty, if that is what it is, I'm going to literally say, I effing called it. I called it right here on the podcast. Matt Hardy basically said his farewell by talking to Randy Orton and basically standing up for Edge. And how does he get paid for this? He gets an RKO and a concerto on his way out. And basically, from what the understanding is, that Matt Hardy is done with Raw. We don't know if he's done with wrestling. To be honest, I would not blame him if he was done with wrestling completely, just because of the fact that he's got 3 kids at home, literally, and a beautiful wife who loved him very much. So he's got a lot of responsibility as a parent to do that. But if he's not done wrestling, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what the next chapter is for Matt Hardy. It's going to be very interesting. Other than that, the girly dressed freaking Seth Rollins deal that I saw on Raw, I'm just like, this literally happened. Wow. I'm moving on from this chapter. I don't know. I don't want this. As far as that goes, I'm tapped out as far as like things to talk about on Raw. Mr. Fretz, did you get a chance to watch Raw, and did you have any thoughts that you wanted to add on as far as Monday night went?
No, not really. I mean, there was all the memes were coming out with Seth Rollins doing like the this close meme, and people were making like the something penis, and I'm like, hey, at least I'm honest about my small dick.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Do you remember? I was gonna say, do you remember years ago when there was the whole scandal where Seth Rollins his pictures went out and everybody kept making jokes about his new finisher was going to be the small package?
It wasn't that small of a. pictures. It made me insecure.
Oh my gosh! Oh god, we're going down this path. No, thank you.
Yeah, let's
move on to Wednesday Night
I
Wars.
was gonna make a dick joke, but I forget.
Dick cheese. Moving on. I only say that because I'm from Wisconsin and cheese is awesome. All right, so of course, guys, bringing this back, and I will say this is for the first time in quite a while. I did get a chance to watch both AEW and NXT. I think this is like the second weekend in a row I've done that. And I loved both shows, but I am going to give the NXT deal to Mr. Fretz because I think he's going to do a really good job of explaining what went down. AEW, going to go into quick talks about this. Hangman Page and Kenny Omega, they defeated SCU to retain their tag team titles, and after which we had tag team pandemonium, where it was going to be the Dark Order. They were coming out, but then another team comes in. We see, the hybrid team of Angelico and Jack Evans. We see the Young Bucks. We see the Butcher the Blade, the Blade. We see everybody just coming out there, all for the tag team battle royal, which will be taking place next week. And the winner will get a tag team title shot at AEW Revolution. The only question is who's going to be the tag team champions, because of the fact that Hangman Page and Kenny Omega have to defend their titles again against the team of Pentagon and Rey Phoenix, the Lucha Bros. I'm looking forward to that match. That's going to be awesome. We get a nice little sit-down interview with JR talking to Santana. And honestly, this was actually kind of a pretty serious deal where basically Santana talks about his father, and it is one of those things where he kind of talks about his father battling with blindness. So it was kind of one of those things I looked at and thought, wow, they're really tying this whole blindness thing all together now. And I'm kind of interested in seeing how it goes. And, oh gosh, I'm looking forward to talking about Santana and Moxley. Darby Allin, he had a nice little package deal where he basically is doing the cue cards that Sammy Guevara was doing, to which I was almost I was just thinking to myself, okay, this is good stuff, because quote unquote Darby Allin is still not able to talk, so he's basically just saying, hey, what are you doing at AEW Revolution? Basically challenging him to a match. Favorite cue card on that entire deal was kissing Chris Jericho's ass, give me herpes. I was on the ground laughing, thinking, oh my god. That, and the thing was that he had like this little picture drawn out where it just looked like Sammy Guevara and his face was just all herpes filled. It's like, oh my gosh, they're going graphic. That's downright amazing. Okay, we had Dustin defeating Sammy Guevara in a pretty good matchup. And then Dustin decided, hey, Jake Hager, I want to challenge you to a match at AEW Revolution. And to what has been told, it looks like Jake Hager has accepted, so we're going to get the first official matchup of Jake Hager taking on Dustin Runnels at AEW Revolution. It's going to be awesome. Tony Schiavone got a chance to interview Britt Baker, and honestly, despite everything that went into that, I still love Britt Baker. She just steals my heart, even though she basically stole Nagasaki's tooth last week. Oh, jeez, that was still brutal. But it's one of those things where she talks down to people. She's rubbing the face that she's got 2 degrees, and it's like she's bringing up facts of her life that she's basically saying, I'm better than you because I have degrees. Luchasaurus is going to do that, and it's going to literally just drive me to the ground, dying of laughter. Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. I've lived millions of years. I also have a degree. What's your excuse? Just, oh my gosh, I want that so bad now. Nyla Rose defeated Rio to become the new AEW Women's Champion. And for those of you that have been talking smack about Nyla, she deserves it. She deserves it. She deserves it. Also, from myself and Mr. Fretz, 2 birds coming your way. Actually, 4 birds. How about that? We're going stone cold on their asses. MJF defeated Jungle Boy, and he hit a brutal double cross. Oh my gosh. I mean, the whole joke basically at first was that MJF was sucking at doing the crossroads, and Cody, I think, made a comment where he was like, that's horrible, man. He's gotten more deadly with that move. It's just brutal. Pac had a nice little deal where he was talking about the Iron Man match between him and Kenny Omega in 2 weeks, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to be an awesome matchup. Then we had a match which was being dubbed, eye for an eye between Santana and Moxley. Santana, oh my gosh, Santana does a great job of just, Matt having, the fast-paced style against John Moxley's, just brawler type deal. It was just absolutely fantastic. Moxley was able to hit the paradigm shift. Boom, 1, 2, 3. It's over. I did miss one thing. I do apologize for this, but it actually ties into the main event. Chris Jericho actually had a interview segment where he basically revealed who John Moxley's opponent was going to be next week. Basically, it was hired an assassin, a man by the name of Jeff Cobb, who also debuted after the main event was over. He comes out and just wrecks John Moxley, and all I think to myself is, okay, this is an impressive dude. He's well known on the indie scene. Let me take a look at some of these matches. I look at some of these matches, I'm like, oh, that's Jeff Cobb. Oh boy, Moxley, good luck next week. So, yeah, AEW did a pretty damn good job. I did see one of the reports saying that they were down about 100,000 people since last week, but at the same time, it's hard to really top the 10 Lashes deals, so yeah. But yeah, in all honesty, like I said, absolutely a phenomenal show. I still love watching AEW. It's really great, and the fact that I get a chance to watch it while I'm working out, which I did about a 60-minute run this past week on the treadmill. Holy crap, I'm surprised I'm still alive. Yeah, AEW, awesome. Giving it 2 thumbs up from me. So, Mr. Fretz, I will pass it over to you. And while that's going on, I got 2 furry animals that apparently want to go outside. So, bear with me, folks, as Mr. Fretz talks to you about NXT and how freaking amazing it was.
Oh, you're darn right. It was amazing. And yes, I did manage to also watch AEW this morning. I woke up early because, hey, your boy couldn't sleep. But I got a brand new mattress delivered this morning, so I'm looking forward to going to bed here in about an hour or so. So yeah, I'll just say out of AEW, I really liked just everything about MJF. That sit-down interview with Santana was really heartfelt, and that kind of reminded me of their LAX versus other LAX feud from TNA, and they had that, I don't know if they called it the Concrete Jungle match, whatever. Anyways, NXT yesterday, it's Thursday. We started off with Roderick Strong in the ring, and he's complaining about Velveteen Dream, and he's all like, you have your family, my family, on your tights. This is disrespectful. I demand an apology. Out comes Bronson Reed. He's like, oh, speaking of apologies, you jumped me backstage, and you owe me one. So they have a match, and Bronson Reed, who at one point in time, not this night, but in the past a long time ago, I think I actually mixed him up with Jeff Cobb. Really? And, but, Bronson's a little bit bigger, so I know that now. And Jeff Cobb seriously needs to have an interview segment or a finisher called the Corn on the Cob or something like that. Like Corn on the Cob with Jeff Cobb sitting here eating corn and a little bit of barbecue with JR. That was not JR. Oh my goodness, that sounded like a 20s. So we had Bronson Reed was taking control and outpowering the crap out of Roddy, just pounding the snot out of him, hitting a bunch of wicked power moves, and Roddy Strong, I think he hit a superplex, and then was that the Fiend? Nate's lights just went in and out. I'm like, oh crap, the Fiend's coming to get me.
No.
Yeah, the Fiend just put me in the mandible claw here. So we had Dream's entrance graphics came out and distracted Roddy, but it had no effect on him because Bronson was coming off the top rope, and Roddy just smashed him with a knee right in the face. It was perfectly timed. It was beautiful. Then
Pow,
after
right in the kisser.
Pardon?
Pow, right in the kisser.
Pow, right in the kisser. Pow, right in the kisser. Pow, right in the kisser. Like, hey, stop it. You're interrupting me. Pow, right in the kisser. Yeah, I just gave away what that's from, folks. So we had Velveteen Dream backstage, and he's kind of poking in on Roddy's family. It's just like,
God.
Hi, Marina. Hi, whatever his kid's name is. And you had everything about, what was that thing with the no pants graphics from last year? And then you had Marina Shafir tweet out a picture afterwards. It was her in a wheelchair.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I got a soundboard now, folks. I'm going to be more insufferable than ever. So we had all that, the whole mind games, and tell me why Velveteen Dream is the face in this situation.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, okay, when Rick Rude did this, he was doing it because he was healing it up. I don't see Velveteen being the face in this deal.
No, but the only guy I think that can get away with doing that as a face is as Cultaholic Jack the Jobber dubbed him, Purple Patrick.
Okay, that's true. That's fair.
Yeah. Shout out to Cultaholic. I was watching their predictions for TakeOver today. It was really good. That's a great opening match. So next we had my personal favorite female on the NXT roster, Dakota Kai, defeating Candice LeRae. Very good back and forth match. This was, of course, setting up everything with Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox's street fight at TakeOver. So we have, what do we have here? Great back and forth match, and we have Dakota winning with a handful of tights. Candice tried to grab her after the match, but Kai used the ring bell and smashed her with it. Tegan Nox came out to stick up with Candice, and they had a beat down, and it took several officials. I'm looking at this, and it's like, oh, pardon me, I should have hit the mute button for that. This is gonna be Gargano Ciampa, but with ladies, and I'm all for it. And speaking of ladies, folks, stop calling Nyla a man. She's a girl. That's all I'm gonna say. That's my soapbox. I'm off it. But we have Gargano versus Phillium's favorite wrestler, Cameron Grimes.
Give me more of this matchup, please. I want this to be for a title.
Sarcasm, of course, because shout out to Phil. He absolutely despises Cameron Grimes for some reason. It's like, he doesn't look like a wrestler. He doesn't have the body type, and he's like, and he says himself, I shouldn't talk because that's my body type. It's like chubby, hairy. It's like, he doesn't look like a wrestler. He's not, basically, I think he's saying something along the lines, he's not believable. Phil, if I got this wrong, you know where to hit me up, bro. But it was really funny just hearing him go off about Cameron Grimes for no reason. It's like why I hate The Miz. It makes no sense. So we have this match I definitely want to see many times. I thought Cameron was going to go for the cave in right away. He should have done that, like how he was winning matches. He should have just went for the quick cave in, and Johnny Gargano would put him in the Gargano escape, and boom, it's over. But they were given a few minutes. They had a great, bunch of takedowns, bunch of counters, a lot of great technical wrestling, and we had a great an aggressive knee to the gut by the caveman. Gargano escape was rolled out of. Johnny Wrestling just got right back into it and hit a whole bunch of wacky moves that Bleacher Report's not being specific about. And we have the tap out with the Gargano escape again, and then he's just saying into the camera to Finn, like, I don't miss, or see you Sunday, blah, blah, blah. And we have Leo Rush versus Angel Garza, number one contender for the Cruiserweight title next week on NXT. Leo Rush won a close match. It was very, very good. There was a wicked spot where he hit the lowdown on the outside of the ring, which looked like ouch. Angel Garza just having his amazing pants gimmick, and someone in New Japan, I'm going to talk about New Japan here in a minute. I think it was Tai Chi. Like, he comes out with the mask and he sings in New Japan, and he did the pants thing in his match. I think it was him. But they did the pants thing in this match, and I'm like, okay, Angel Garza versus Tai Chi in a pants on a pole match. Dusty Dave, you can tell me what one is right, because I bet you watched this. Shout out to Dusty, the Dusty one himself as well.
Well,
so we have
for life.
For life. A roll-up victory, an upset roll-up victory for the win. Jordan Devlin comes out to talk a little trash, and we have...
Correction. It's Daddy Devlin. Get it right. Show respect to the Queen Bee.
Okay, just for Kate's sake. Kate, just for you. Love you, Kate. Daddy Devlin. Even though you know how I feel about the term daddy. Anyways.
I know, that's why it's funny.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day, Kate.
Hey.
I may be lonely on Valentine's Day, but you can be my you can be my friend in Galentine. There it is. There it is. Leslie, no, you can be my Galentine.
My special friend on Single Awareness Day.
On Weezer Day. Or Galentine, or however you would Valentine. You know, Galentine's for girls, but I just want to say the right one because of, non-binary. So, right. So next we had Bianca Belair coming out to destroy Santana Garrett. And you know what?
Santana.
I'm coming around on Bianca for 3 reasons. One, she hasn't whipped anyone with her hair in a long time.
Good enough.
2, she can cut a promo. She is fire on that microphone.
Fair.
But, however, Charlotte's diss last week was the greatest thing I've ever seen. It was like, hand in her face, like, step away. This is a conversation for champs. I swear I'm done with that now.
I love that. I did mention how just her Bianca's facial reactions is what made that segment so good.
It was. She can sell it, absolutely. And I don't want a triple threat at Mania. I want her to have a slow burn. Like, I was actually, we were talking about, me and those wrestling girls were talking about this actually today, and it was about, what do you think about it? And I'm like, I like her, but it's like, I think her moment will come at either Boston or maybe later, because I think that the Dakota Kai Tegan Nox feud is going to have the title. So maybe at Mania or on a random episode of NXT, we're going to see Rhea drop the title to Dakota Kai. Then Tegan Nox would win it. Then I could see like a multi-woman match with Bianca taking it. Like, I think I'll be as bold as to say at this time next year, Bianca Belair will be the NXT Women's Champion.
Could very well happen. Hey, for all we know, she could in fact be WWE Women's Tag Team Champion. Never know.
Yeah, that too. She's going to have gold by this time next year. So, yeah, it was a spear and the KOD. That was it. She grabbed the mic and was complaining about Ripley and Charlotte Flair, looking past her. Like, okay, you got some chutzpah, lady. You got some bowls. So good for you. We have Adam Cole versus Kushida in the main event. This was just great Ring of Honor New Japan strong style match that I would have seen at like ROH Final Battle or the ROH New Japan whatever that show was called. Fantastic. You had a bunch of good old strong strikes back and forth. You had the hoverboard lock a couple of times, but it took the last shot for Adam Cole to win. And Ciampa came out, faced off with Goldie, not really Adam, but Adam Cole's just like, look at me. look at me. And, he's still not taking his eyes off of Goldie. And, maybe by Sunday, maybe Goldie's coming home, but we'll talk about that when we predict it.
Very true. All right. So I do want to add on a couple things when it comes to the NXT deal. Number one, just to get this out of the way, those sketches with the Broserweights. Basically, Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne, they're trying to get to Portland. They do a car ride deal, but then their car gets towed because of the fact that apparently both of them don't have a license, which, okay. The other thing they did was they tried to go boat paddling in a swan boat, which is like, what the hell? And ultimately they sneak on to a private jet in the baggage claims. They just go into the baggage area, they stuff themselves in there, and whose private jet could this be? Why, none other than Hunter Hearst Helmsley himself, Triple H. Because why not? It was one of those moments where it was like, I hate this team, and I hate the fact that I love this comedic stuff. It's because I just don't want Dunn and Riddle to be a thing. But I'm at the point where it's getting close to accepting the fact that I love these guys' chemistry. They're both polar opposites, which makes them a very unique tag team. And their comedic timing is just done so well. Just Pete Dunne just taking no shit at all. With Matt Riddle, who does not give a shit at all. He's just like, bro, just chill out. I got this. And all I'm thinking to myself is, oh boy, we're in this kind of deal. Number two was that there was a segment with Robert Stone and Chelsea Green where basically they said they're going to relaunch the Robert Stone brand. And honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, I love these two. This is just an awesome pairing. It's great. The final thing was just that final image that you mentioned with Tommaso Ciampa and Adam Cole, where they're just staring off. Ciampa's looking at Goldie. Adam Cole raises the belt to his face, almost as if to say, hey, remember, you got to go through me to get to him. And Tommaso Ciampa says, at Portland, I'm getting my life back. And Adam Cole says, over my dead body. To which is like, oh, this match is going to be good. This is going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Yeah, we're going to be doing predictions as soon as we get done talking about nice instant classic event. Before we go into the next commercial break, got to talk about the big thing that's happening on Friday, which I'm looking forward to a lot. Probably a little more excited than I should be for this, and that is the fact that, yeah, Big Otis is getting the big date with Mandy Rose. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm excited for this. Fretz is excited for this. King Ricky's excited for this. Us big men, we need to have that kind of... I don't know if I want to say... We need that reassurance that, if a big guy like Tucky can go out with a beautiful woman, a model like Mandy Rose, then there's still hope for us. So, Otis, we're cheering for you. We're rooting for you. And you know that we're going to be talking about how awesome you're going to be as a gentleman. I'm looking forward just to seeing how this day goes down. Oh, it's going to be beautiful. I'm excited. I'm like a little kid, like in a chair, just hopping up and down, just super excited for this.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm just like, oh man, he's going to be the biggest heel on SmackDown now. It's going to go like all my relationships have gone like shit. And to be fair, my first relationship, she was very sweet. It's just we grew apart. Yeah, so I just wanted to go back to the Broad Trip movies.
Oh God, that's right. They called it that.
No, I did. Okay, that was terrible. No, it's like I'm like, okay, give me Riddle and Dunn for 23 Jump Street.
Oh my God, that would actually be kind of funny. I would love to see them be across from Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. And it's kind of one of those things where it's just like two teams battle against each other to see who is the best duo cop team.
Oh, I don't know. That might. Channing and Jonah are pretty good. I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna watch that movie when I get finished here. I love 21 and 22 Jump Street. I love those movies.
My name is Jeff. Damn it!
You shot my dick off.
Oh no! Oh well. All right. So we're gonna take a quick little break, guys, just to kind of recuperate, just to kind of cool off. And then when we come back, we're gonna be talking about a very instant classic event, which, in honesty, might actually surprise us. But we'll just have to wait and see. So stay tuned, guys. We will be right back.
Let's face it, folks, I can be in some better shape, and this year, I'm going to make a commitment to it. My name is King Ricky Rose, General Manager of Wrestle Addict Radio, and I want you guys to join our Patreon and follow me and my fellow constituents on our journey into better mental and, more importantly, better physical health. Join us in our journey to get back into ring shape, where each episode we will tell you about our progress on the matter and what a ring shape really means to us. So join patreon.com/WrestleAddictRadio, click subscribe, and just for $5 a month, you can follow our journey as we get back into ring shape. Now enjoy the rest of your show.
What's going on, guys? This is Zach, your host of the Young Lions Perspective Podcast, and you are listening to the Game Changer Podcast on Wrestle Addict Radio.
Oh man, we're not quite in for a war, but we might be in for a bit of a rough ride when it comes to this. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Game Changer Podcast, a part of Wrestle Addict Radio. I'm NateFNGreat, joined here by the one and only legendary Mr. Fretz himself, and of course, gotta do the cheap little plug here, guys. If you definitely are loving the fact that you're hearing us here on this podcast, definitely check us out on Wrestle Addict Radio. Our Twitter is @addict_wrestle, and definitely check us out on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, so many different podcasting formats, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Castbox, whatever you can think of, we're there. We are literally there. And you know who else is there? Our friends over at the Kings of the Rings podcast, as well as the Young Lions Perspective podcast. Definitely check them out. They are absolutely fantastic. You will not find a better group of people than us who try to keep wrestling real, and we are succeeding as the day goes on. And hey, if you got $5, definitely check us out on our Patreon page. I already mentioned earlier in the show that there's going to be some new content coming in, you guys. Remember, February 20th, I will be launching the How I Would Write the Women's Revolution. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic deal. And let's just say this, maybe you probably don't want to chip in for the Patreon deal. Not a problem. 1 week after it launches on Patreon, I will have it uploaded on my YouTube page. So for those of you that are trying to, just save a little money, especially during the tax season time, I get it. Definitely check out the YouTube page. It will be there, and it is something you definitely do not want to miss on. All right, so let's get into talking about a SmackDown pay-per-view, No Way Out 2005. And before we get even into any of these notes, it's that time to go to the way, way back machine with Mr. Fretz. Mr. Fretz, what was going on during this time?
Well, I have some very interesting ones, but before that, I wanted to mention that while I search for something that's going to be part of my way back machine, I wanted to mention that I put up my Patreon show, the 20 Bell Salute, this week. Just like you, Nate, I also put it up on my Anchor feed. So it's on my Fretzelmania feed on Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm/FRETZLE Mania. And I went into 20 years ago this month, which was February 2000, No Way Out 2000. And to give you one sneak preview, I talked about a show that debuted in January 2000 that I totally forgot about, and I just went on a little bit about, and that was Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh my gosh.
An absolute classic. The only notable movie I can remember from there was Tigger, and there was nothing for video games other than The Sims, but I don't like The Sims. I like, if you want to listen to a good Sims story, listen to The Rant, because Ant used to just mess with it. It was really, really funny. Not my cup of tea, but, you know, whichever. So it's also on that feed. And also, folks, if you go to my Anchor.fm feed, you can use it to leave me a voicemail. And I might play it in a future episode if it's not scathing and raunchy. So hit me up. Even you can do that if you want to, brother. So, February 2005, well, this was a rather interesting time in my life. Believe it or not, this was the month that I was baptized.
Really?
Yes, well, to some folks, baptism is a, sprinkling of the baby. To some folks, mostly Baptist and Protestant denominations, it is a public statement and public declaration of your faith in Christ. Now, I went through a rough patch in 2004, which I think I talked about in our WrestleMania 20 review. If you want to learn about that, go back into Nate's archive, because that was pre-Wrestle Addict Radio, and go to there. So the best thing about that day wasn't my baptism. It was I got to see my pastor baptize his son.
Wow.
That was so cool. He was maybe 10, 12. Clark, you probably don't know this exists, and that's probably a good thing. but shout out to Clark. Shout out to Pastor Kennedy. He had long since left my church. That's a whole other story that almost made me stop going to my home church. I'll just say this. Politics in churches are just as ugly as politics in Washington or Ottawa. Just saying. Anyways, that happened, and let's see. I think I was working at that plastic factory at that point in time. Movies. Oh, hang on a second.
Oh no, he's getting a swig, which tells me that I'm probably not gonna like this lineup.
Son of Mask.
Oh God, please no.
American Pie Band Camp.
Okay, that was actually relatively decent. I remember watching that, and I was okay with it.
Boogeyman.
Like WWE Boogeyman, or...
Boogeyman isn't Hollywood Boogeyman.
Oh, damn it, why?
And Hitch.
Okay, so we're 2 for 4 at least, when it comes to this. So about half was good, half was kill me.
I liked Hitch. The rest of those movies can kiss my ass.
So for you, it's 1 for 4. Me, it was half. So, okay.
And in songs... Oh, I had something else here. I have to go to another website here after I set up this joke.
Okay.
So songs, we had Mario, Let Me Love You, and this next song, Slack, this is for you. Hang on. Boulevard of Broken Dreams by Green Day's American Idiot was dominating the charts at this point in time, and one of the best karaoke songs of all time, especially if you've had a few, Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So at this point in time, I wanted to see what was going on in NWA TNA.
Yeah, that's right, because they did do a video.
Against all odds, 2005. I'm just going to give you the results here because I think TNA had started either being on Fox Sports Net or Spike, because I was watching it every week on Spike. So we had, in a dark match, fight Delta Slam, defeating Lex Lovett and Buck Quartermain. Who?
I don't know.
Exactly. The Harris Brothers, defeating Mikey Batts and Jarrell Clark, inventor of the 630 Splash.
Giant question mark again. Who?
Elix Skipper defeated my boy Petey Williams. B.G. James and Jeff Hammond, who is a NASCAR driver, with Ron Killings and Conan, defeated Michael Shane and Frankie Kazarian.
Oh yeah, 3 Live Crew. That's right. I remember that was a thing.
Or Voodoo Kin Mafia, VKM. Meet us at the Alamo, Sean! Raven defeated Dustin Rhodes. America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris and James Storm retained the NWA Tag Team Championship against Kid Cash and Lance Hoyt, a.k.a. New Japan, former United States champion.
Oh,
Archer.
Vance Archer. I think you were asking me to do the tag team name. I'm like, dude, you're barking up the wrong tree if you think I'm going to know that tag team name.
They didn't have one. It was Kid Cash and Dallas or something.
Oh, yeah.
So, Abyss defeated Jeff Hardy in a Full Metal Mayhem match.
I don't remember that.
DDP and Monty Brown defeated Team Canada. I quit. Defeated Eric Young and Bobby Roode with Coach D'Amore and Johnny Devine. Oh, come on. Why you got to do Canada dirty like that?
Okay, to be fair, to be fair, this was a younger Bobby Roode and a younger Eric Young. No pun intended. So to be fair, we can forgive this time around. It's the later years we have a little harder time forgiving.
True that. What we will be able to forgive, because this match was absolutely amazing, AJ Styles defeated Christopher Daniels in a 30-minute Iron Man match to retain the X Division title.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And in the main event, something that probably main evented WCW in the year 2000, shout out to Mance,
Yay.
Jeff Jarrett defeated Kevin Nash to retain the NWA title. Woof.
Damn it. Man, you know, it's actually kind of crazy because I'll talk a little more about that when I get to that in my notes. So, as I mentioned before, this is happening in 2005. This is February 20th, 2005. No Way Out, a SmackDown only pay-per-view that took place in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at the Mellon Arena. Attendance of 9,500 people, and to be honest, the promo package was pretty good. I mean, they did hype up the whole barbed wire steel cage match, which, for me, 15-year-old me, was just kind of like, okay, this is kind of intimidating. Throughout the show, they definitely hype up the fact that Royal Rumble winner Batista is supposed to be there in attendance. They have like this nice, suite set up for him. Trust me, there's gonna be like a lot of stuff that I want to. I'm gonna talk about that right now. So, basically, Teddy Long just talks about how make sure that he's got like food, water, drinks, whatever he needs. If they keep panning back there just to kind of see, there's literally like a giant veggie tray in one side of the room that's just there. It's like they're waiting on Batista. He doesn't show up. Doesn't even eat his vegetables. Damn it! just they did so much nice things for him. The least he could do is eat his vegetables. Maybe he was running late or something like that. Who knows? But the theme song that I really liked, and it's funny because you talked about TNA. A year later, they actually did this theme song at their big show, Bound for Glory, that being Enemy by Fozzy. I absolutely love this song. It's catchy. It's just very sweet in the ears. Absolutely great. And the promo pack, the freaking promo package that they have for where they recap the tournament, it's just done so well. They do the same thing for Bound for Glory, where they're just hyping up all the matches that are coming up for that. It's just great. Fozzy can do no wrong. Fozzy just is a beautiful band. It's just absolutely great. And even to this day, they're creating hit after hit after hit. They are going to just dominate every single Hall of Fame that they go into. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, I love Fozzy. I got all their... I do have all their albums, although they were not Napster, but I love it. And I was watching this, I'm like, who is this? Like, I know this song because it's in my playlist. And finally, when they show, we want to thank Fozzy and for Chris Jericho for not being booked tonight.
It's a SmackDown pay-per-view. That's the weird part. But then again,
no, he was gone. He was gone because he wasn't,
because
he had.
This was the build-up to the first ever Money in the Bank match. He'd be gone by the night after SummerSlam, but we're not quite to that point yet. So, spoiler alert for those of you that are questioning about what happens later on during the year. Whatever. First matchup we have on here is for the WWE Tag Team titles. You know what? Hold on. I gotta do it the right way. Coming up, it is for the WWE Tag Team Championships as the Basham Brothers defend against the team of Rey Mysterio, the Master of 619, again, and Eddie Guerrero. Yes, I'm doing a little bit of Ruthless Aggression pod there, so shout out to you guys.
Pepsi Blue presents the Slam of the Week. I thought you were going New Day, bro.
I saw that. That was funny. Yeah, he thought I was going for the WWE World Tag Team Championship. But it's like, no, that doesn't exist until at least well over a decade. All right, so going into this, I already knew some of the things that were going to happen, and all I thought to myself was, I'm looking forward to these things happening, and I have some really good standards for this matchup. It still met the standards that I had, and even exceeded at some points. First, right off the bat, Basham Brothers do the greatest thing of all time, and the greatest thing in their entire career. The freaking SOD deal where they're just pointing the letters at their crotch. And there comes a point where Eddie's just like, ew, what the hell? It's funny. Hey, it was better than what they were doing a year prior, let's be fair. Right off the bat, great back and forth action between both of these teams. The ref gets very critical about the tag team rope. Keep that in mind, because it's going to come into play later on. I like that the Bashams did this great deal where they're just doing the isolation deal, where they are really trying to make sure that, the guys are already in the corner, where they can't allow them to make tags, stuff like that. Bashams are really good at that. I have forgotten that Bashams can be a really good tag team. It's just that a lot of people just remember them for their random, smut deal with Shaniqua. But they have to remember that once they went into the whole, Secretary of Defense deal, SOD, they became a better tag team. And they really showcased them out. And to be honest, the cool thing about this is the fact that the reason why they're tag team champions in the first place is because of them defeating 3 other teams in a tag team 4-way matchup, which also featured them champions, Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam, who unfortunately had to basically be thrown out of the matchup because he had to get knee surgery, which sucks to hear that. So Doug Basham, he goes for a diving headbutt, but he misses it, and Eddie Guerrero tags in Rey Mysterio, who just comes in like a house of fire. He's doing springboard moves, he's doing his bulldog, he's just doing absolutely everything he can to just take down the Basham Brothers. Not the first time they'll do this, but let's be mindful, ladies and gentlemen, that before we had Nikki and Bree, we had Danny and Doug. And it was very hard to tell them tell which one was which to begin with. They pulled their own version of Twin Magic, although we'll have to call it something else, maybe like Basham Tactics or something like that. Rey Mysterio, he just gets decimated by the Basham Brothers. They just take full-fledged advantage of that. Rey Mysterio does this nice moonsault to one of the Basham Brothers for a very unique pin predicament, where I think the Basham Brothers' legs were just kind of up in the air, and he's just kind of resting on one of their crotches or something like that. I'm just like, okay, this is unique. So we're getting to the point where it's crowd's getting behind Rey Mysterio, and it looks like we're going to just see a tag. The referee is just telling Eddie, is like, hey, whoa, you got to get back in your court. He pulls up the tag rope, and very briefly you just see a little knot in this. and referee's just throwing his hands up in the air. He's just like, come on, there's 2 of them. I, to this day, love that moment where it didn't occur to me at first that Eddie Guerrero was like further from the turnbuckle than what he was. But when they mentioned, oh, there's 2 tag team ropes, I'm just like, that is smart. That is genius. And I'm on the ground just laughing my ass off, seeing that, just like, this is classic Eddie. I love it. Rey Mysterio does his, he tries to go for his classic Bulldog, but the Basham Brothers just do this amazing tag team counter, where it kind of looks like the X Factor, but with a aided wheelbarrow deal. Eddie Guerrero breaks it up, and then he just goes right back to his corner, and he just has his back turned to the ref. He holds his hand up with the tag rope like, I have the rope, duh. Just being a little snot-nosed brat, and I love it. So Rey finally gets... Oh, no, wait. Before we get into that, Rey Mysterio is playing this absolute amazing game of Catch Me If You Can, where he's literally just doing jumps and leaps and rolls and like that. It's amazing just seeing how fast Rey Mysterio was. Finally, he gets the tag into Eddie. Eddie is in. He's a house of fire now. He's doing everything that he can do to just, get these guys down. The Bashams are being taken down. Eddie Guerrero, he grabs a belt. And he looks to basically hit one of them in the face. Rey Mysterio grabs it. And he's like, no, we're not doing it like that. We're not doing it like that. One of the Bashams decide, hey, we're going to do the switchy thing again. Eddie Guerrero, he goes to the top rope. He looks to do a frog splash, and he dives, but he does a roll. The other Basham is thinking, okay, he did a splash, it's fine. Eddie's just like, yeah, no, I saw this. Lies down. The referee is just kind of like, dude, what are you doing? The other Basham, he doesn't even acknowledge this. He's just like, yeah, he fell for it. S-O-D. And gets a very close 2 count for the Eddie Guerrero Rey Mysterio spot. Then we have a nice little hot potato with the tag team titles, in which Rey Mysterio, he tosses the belt to Eddie. No, it was one of the Bashams tosses it to Eddie. Eddie tosses it to one of the other Basham brothers. Referee's completely distracted. And he gets the title belt basically just taken away. Rey tosses the belt to Eddie. Eddie, boop, pops one of the Bashams in the face. Rey hits a 619 with the ring post to take out the other Basham. Eddie covers. 1, 2, 3. Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio, they pick up the tag team titles. Guys, I know it's early, but I gave this one 2 Thanos thumbs up. This was my favorite matchup of the entire card, and it's still a really well done matchup. I love the fact that they told a really good story of Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. They're trying to win the tag team titles back. The Bashams are doing everything they can to ensure that doesn't happen. Eddie's trying to get back into his whole deal of, lying and cheating and stealing. This might have happened a couple months before this, or it may have happened like a few months later. But I just remember this one moment that makes me laugh just as much as this one, where Eddie Guerrero's trying to do like a line, cheat, and steal deal on Rey Mysterio. And he has his body covering the tag team belt. Rey Mysterio's just like, he hit me in the face. Ref is just saying, Eddie, did you hit him with the belt? And Eddie just goes, no! It's just one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, Eddie, when he's finally getting like everything caught up with him, it's funny. It's like karma's hitting him so bad, and he's still freaking hilarious. But I loved this matchup. It showcased, Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero at their finest, like I said. One of the best matches that the Basham brothers had in their entire run. And it was one of the best openers, I think, to any pay-per-views. Even for, like, the rest of this year, I don't think I can say that there's been another matchup. Maybe Rey versus Eddie at WrestleMania 21. That might be the only other one that probably would be really good. Other than that, this was just an awesome tag team at... maybe Edge and Shawn, but no, I'm still sticking with this one. This was one of the best tag team openers, openers to any pay-per-view card. Mr. Fretz, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this match, and there's one thing I only learned very recently is that you got the Bashams, twin magic, but they're not even related at all.
Wait, are you serious?
I am dead serious. They're not brothers.
Oh my gosh, they're... God, how they can find like a doppelganger of each other, that's insane. That's really awesome, actually.
You're the doppelganger of someone I know, but unfortunately he's no longer with us, so, it's possible. So I'm looking at Basham Brothers. Oh, I'll look this up later. This is great audio content.
Right.
So yeah, apparently they're not actual brothers. It was just man's like, oh, you guys look so much alike. You're going to be brothers. Edge and Christian. Let's see, who else were called Dudley Boys, but they're just like, they're called half brothers. But then there's like their little brother or little cousin or something, Spike, who's in the show, and there's a little thing here, the boss.
Oh my gosh, I love this.
Oh yeah, I loved the commentary here. It was Taz brings up, like, oh yeah, it's okay for Eddie to cheat, but not for the Bashams. What a load of crap!
I did notice that a couple of times where Michael Cole's trying to justify what Eddie and Ray are doing, and Taz just getting on him is like, oh, what a bunch of crap! What are you talking about, Cole? So the commentary was very entertaining during this matchup. I will second that.
It's family tradition, Taz. Oh, stop it, Cole. Stop it. You call the Bulldog a DDT in this match, you dork.
Oh my gosh. How would you rate this matchup?
3.5 Bashams out of 4.
3.5 Bashams out of 4. Love it. So I did mention earlier, you guys, that Teddy Long was talking about Batista being there, about having everything just provided for him. So we get that kind of segment right here, and then we also get a mildly injured Carlito, who comes in. He has the wife of one of the executives for the board of directors come in. They're talking about the show, talking about stuff like this. Basically, it basically all boils down to Carlito has had this vendetta against Teddy Long, to where he feels like he's in like a hostile environment where it's unsafe, where he's not fitted for the general manager deal. So he's been talking to the board of directors about getting this deal done. He even went out and did like a petition for everybody to sign. A petition that was also signed by a future opponent, which I'll talk about in just a bit. So basically, he's done all these things, and it's here at No Way Out where they basically reveal that it seems like if Batista doesn't sign on with SmackDown, Teddy Long is going to be out of a job. To which Carlito says, "That's cool." Now, obviously, that doesn't happen. Linda McMahon actually basically says, you're doing a great job, you have nothing to worry about. And she also ends it by saying, Carlito, please stop contacting us. To which it's a little belly laugh out of me. It's funny. And what even ensues afterwards is just Teddy Long just having Carlito do these like random deals, like shoveling snow, doing the concession stand, dressing up like Elvis. So freaking hilarious. Just it's good stuff. But that's the spoiler basically what happens there. We have the first round of what's being dubbed as the Diva Rookie Contest. Oh boy, howdy! This is yeah. I already said that I would take care of this. So Fred's probably is not going to have too much to say about this. Well, maybe not too many nice things. So I'm going to try and be as nice as I can. So basically, this is just a random deals of like, hey, this is just going to determine who's going to be the quote-unquote next Diva Rookie. Okay. The hosts are Dawn Marie as well as Tori Wilson, where they basically talk about, who's going to be like the next Diva, which competition they're looking forward to, blah, blah, blah. First event is an evening gown event. Why? And I even put in my notes, what a waste. So the 4 women that are in this are Joy Giovanni, Rochelle Rowan,
hey, Canada,
Lauren Jones, and Michelle McCool. First of all, Dawn Marie, she's still as beautiful back then as I remember. jeez. I might need a bucket. So when they have each of them coming out, they have, the name, they have their, stuff where they're from. They have measurements, which matters why? I just don't care. But I also put in, my final note here, future Mrs. Undertaker, which is one of those things where it's just yeah, because it's Michelle McCool. And I will say this, the Michelle was probably the second best woman on that entire roster. Number one was still Tori Wilson. I'm sorry. That's just me. But Michelle McCool was definitely getting up there. And when they get her into action, she starts getting higher and higher. Let's just say that right now. So this is round 1 of 3, guys. So they even mentioned this whole deal where it's oh, well, you can go to WWE.com and vote for your favorite one. To which it's oh, boy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's probably not going to be a surprise as far as who's going to win this. Just because maybe it's the fact that she's a special friend of one of the stars, or maybe it's just because she likes to show off her assets. We'll get into that later. But coming up next, we have the grudge match of the century as Heidenreich, the deranged one, battles against the five-time WCW champion, Booker T. So this matchup just comes out of nowhere. Literally, Booker T has lost his semifinal match against Cena to possibly face the WWE champion at WrestleMania. And Booker T's just backstage. He's all pissed. He's all moany. And we see Heidenreich. He's just sitting there. He's just laughing. And Booker T's thinking, yo, sucker, you laughing at me? I'm going to kick your ass at No Way Out. Great setup. Great setup, Booker T. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it went. I don't even want to go back and see how that went. I think that was exactly what happened. The one good thing that came out of this for me was the disaster piece. One time, it went bad. But just listening to Heidenreich do a freaking poem, and the way he's just talking, it's so freaking funny. Just hearing him just be all of you will feel my pain and strife that I have felt my entire life. That was a poem by Heidenreich. He's like freaking William Shatner, who's just freaking deranged. He is a deranged William Shatner. Fight me on this, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, just the way he presents himself. He's just weirdly hyping up certain words. Okay. So during this matchup, we hear Heidenreich just keep saying, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy. Beautiful sidekick by Booker T. Heidenreich, he does a lot of the punches and a lot of power skills and stuff like that. But he does deliver this massive clothesline to Booker T, where I literally thought, oh gosh, he's dead. He is dead. I noticed this right off the bat. There's this random point in the matchup. I just noticed this dude almost doing a Val Venus kind of style of dance. He's just doing the whole circling the hips deal. I'm just what the frick? What is this? Booker T, he starts getting back into it. We get a nice little spinneroonie. Heidenreich, he uses a chair right across the throat of Booker T somewhat. He throws a chair down, and you hear the referee just yelling, ring that bell, disqualification. Thank you, Nick Patrick. I don't think the microphone heard you. He throws Booker T in the ring and covers him, and he is just counting himself, kind of like what he did at the Royal Rumble. Again, he's just just doing this stick deal. He's tapping his own arm. And he's just I won! I won! It's okay, this dude is insane. And this is kind of funny. So basically, for those of you that are kind of curious how this rivalry goes about, well, they have a rematch on SmackDown. Booker T gets disqualified. Then they have a no DQ matchup in which Booker T gets the win, and that's about it. And then Booker T wins this random battle royal at WrestleMania. Yeah, man, they love just utilizing Booker T, don't they? Oh, as far as this matchup go, oh yeah, thumbs down. This was bad. I would almost dare say that this is a brother sucks moment. Because this oh my god, this matchup was just dragging. It was dumb. It had really no reason to be on this card. It just sucked. Honestly, if they would have gotten rid of this matchup and given more time to another matchup, maybe it could have been better. But yeah, no, this was stupid. Do you have anything to add, Fretz?
This is our Kyle from the Ruthless Aggression Pod, fart of the night. Yes, total garbage. There was a line in commentary actually during the Divas segment, and it was, it's freezing. Why do they call it the Igloo? Ever heard of a team called the Pittsburgh Penguins, Cole? Yes, who in 2005 were two-time Stanley Cup champions. However, now, with the benefit of hindsight, add 3 more titles to that. And I think this was the year or the year before that Sidney Crosby got drafted. So things were coming up for the Penguins. Yeah, and then Heidenreich. I was trying to look for a joke here for the poetry thing because this was the worst poetry slam I've ever seen, and I did one. You see, in Bible college, wow, there's a lot of feedback coming back from my voice. When I was in Bible college, we had like an open mic night, and I thought that I would do something for the yucks. I had a paraphrase of the Bible I bought as a total joke called Word on the Street. So what I did is I put my hood up, just as I am here, got out my Word on the Street Bible, and it's like their opening in Genesis was like, instead of in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, it was like, yo, before there was nothing but darkness, desolate, nothing, then whap, stuff happened. I'm like, okay, I am doing this, and I'm going to go, hey Dan, can you beatbox? Okay, good. Get up here. Oh, it was so bad. It was bad on purpose. I wanted to be crap. So, yeah, and it also reminded me of the poetry I used to write on my former blog site. The URL I will not share because it is cheesy, corny, and terrible. Yeah, his poetry gimmick. I don't know if this was pre or post implied Michael Cole rape, but no.
That was after. It was long after, my friend.
And I liked his gimmick at first, like his theme, Hayden, right? He did that whole march he did.
Well, he did that. I think he did that after WrestleMania, because then after his whole deal with Booker T, he started going from being this crazy heel to being this kind of just deranged babyface who's just like, my world, my friends. He's just inviting people. I think it was Judgment Day. He actually had these kids just there for moral support. Yeah, he didn't win the U.S. title, obviously, but just kids were definitely behind him. He's doing you said, the whole Heidenreich. Although, oh my gosh, one of my favorite moments with Heidenreich is him changing the words. He's looking around the ring. He's going, "Where's my friend? Where's my friend?" So people can't say that Heidenreich didn't have comedic moments. He had amazing moments. It's just they didn't handle him right. Let me put it also into perspective here. After he had his feud with The Undertaker, nobody gave a crap about him. Nobody gave a crap about him. They could have done something with him where he takes it to The Undertaker and, maybe have him beat The Undertaker, but they decided, no, we're going to have him lose 3 straight times. Bravo. You buried what could have been something good. But, whatever. Alright. So, did you have a rating for this one?
zero Pepsi Blues because they got discontinued, and every time I hear Pepsi Blue on the Ruthless Aggression podcast, it makes me sad.
Fair enough. So we get a backstage segment where we have Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. They're partying with, with Hardcore Holly and Charlie Haas, like all three people back there. This could have been something bigger, whatever. Cena, he comes in, he's celebrating with them. They basically say, and then Hardcore Holly makes this comment where he's like, hey, they won. Now it's your turn, John. To which Eddie says, hey, guys, if you allow me to, I'd like to just have a couple minutes with John just to talk. And still funny, because John, he knows that Eddie has something up his sleeve. Or does he? He's like, this isn't like a ruse, is it? No. No. He's holding onto his U.S. belt, and it would have been so funny just to have that be like a ruse at the end where Eddie just takes the U.S. belt. Oh my god. Also, why was John Cena versus Eddie Guerrero not a thing for the U.S. title? That would have drew some ratings. Anyway, so Eddie Guerrero, he talks to John about everything that's going on with him. He mentions, he makes this comment where he's like, I don't think you understand how big this is. You beat Kurt Angle tonight, you're going to WrestleMania. That's what everybody wants. That's what everybody lives for. And then he goes into talking about how Kurt Angle says he's going to make you hurt. He's going to make you beg for it. He's going to make you tap out. And he says to him, I believe that he can, make you hurt, feel pain. I believe he can put you in the ankle lock. But I don't believe that he can make you tap out. It's one of those things where I gave this segment just 2 hearts because I loved it, because it's one of those things where you just hear this advice that Eddie has. It's one of his best promo speeches. It reminds me a lot of like the one that he had with, Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20, where he's just like, win or lose, I'm proud of you, man. And Benoit's just like, don't say lose. Don't say it. He's like, but come on, dude. You're facing Triple H. You're facing Shawn Michaels. Nobody expects you to really win, man. And he just lights a fire under Benoit's ass to where it's like, yep, he got it. And it's one of those things where it's like a year later, he's doing it to another up-and-coming guy. And let me say this. If somehow John Cena were to somehow say, like, his never give up, never quit deal came from Eddie, I would have a newfound respect for that gimmick. I really would. Because it's one of those things where it feels like this would have been the genesis of it. To where, we've seen Cena and Kurt Angle in the past. And Kurt has always made John Cena tap out. So the question is that going to be the same situation in this matchup? Well, we're going to get to it, guys. Don't you worry. But did you have anything to add about this segment, at least with Cena and Guerrero?
Yeah, it appears that John Cena won the Master Lock Challenge by what he was wearing.
Damn it. It wasn't even a thing until a year later.
No, this year.
Oh, shit, you're right.
And I think, ironically, John Cena was one of the ones who broke... No, it was Lashley. I think John Cena did get locked into it, but it was after somebody finally won the Master Lock Challenge, but I guess he had a little bit of foreshadowing here, and we didn't even know it. I loved that Eddie was giving John the rub here, because, of course, this was before John won his first WWE title, like the following month. I think that's a future show, but I got the best time to do it should be before WrestleMania 37, because that's going to be in LA as well, so that'll be a full circle moment. It was really, and I like Eddie he was being genuine, he was being real. It's like, the cameras might have not been rolling, because that's how Eddie rolled. I mean, this is a guy that got everyone in the locker room, from the enhancement talent visiting for the day to Vince McMahon in prayer in the locker room. That's how big of a heart, that's how much, I want to say, power that, I guess, Eddie combined with the man upstairs had. So it was really good. And this was just, you knew John Cena was just on the cusp and he was going to break through here. And I was rooting for him big time. Loved it. And I love what's coming up next, because it has one of my favorites ever.
Yep, and that is an elimination matchup for the Cruiserweight Championship. Funaki defends against Paul London, Chavo Guerrero, Akio, Shannon Moore, and Spike Dudley, who wears a Patriots t-shirt. Oh, that's a cheap way to get heat, but at the same time, I give him props. He did something really cool. So this was a really weird way that they did the elimination matchup, and Tony Chimel goes on to explain, number 1 and number 2 will fight each other. Then, whoever wins that will face number 3, and then blah, 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 blah. It's like, this is a really complicated elimination matchup, just saying right now. Right off the bat, we get Paul London versus Funaki. And the chemistry between these guys at the start, absolutely great. They do a lot of fast-paced deals. We get a mule kick from Paul London. Oh gosh, I forgot how awesome the mule kick was. That was just great. Spike Dudley, he distracts Funaki and gets rolled up for the 3 count, so we're guaranteed a new Cruiserweight champion. Spike Dudley, he's just beaten down on Paul London in a corner, and just when you think that he's probably going to get a victory, boom! Funaki kicks him in the face. 1, 2, 3, Spike is gone. In comes Shannon Moore. They get a little nice back and forth deal here, but boop, 450 splash by Paul London takes out Shannon Moore. Then in comes Akio, who for some reason during this entire matchup is doing this deal where he's just beating him down, and he does this kind of like prancing, dancing kind of deal during it. And I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Akio, what are you doing? You're not Jimmy Wang Yang yet. You're not to that point yet, so stop it. But London hits Akio with this super neck breaker, which looks absolutely brutal and also amazing. They both are seemingly about to be counted out, but London is able to get to his feet before the count of 10, and Akio gets eliminated but via that countout deal. We get a nice deal between Chavo Guerrero and Paul London. They're the final 2 of this matchup. We see some nice offense from Chavo. We see some nice offense from Paul London. Paul London even does like a little bit of like an Ultimate Warrior kind of deal, where he's just going, kind of beats down a bit on Chavo. Chavo gets the advantage. Chavo goes for a suplex. Paul London counters into like an O'Connor roll kind of deal, but then Chavo moves his weight over. He's grabbing the ropes, holding him down. Chavo Guerrero gets the 3 count, wins the match, and becomes the new Cruiserweight champion, and one of the few men to actually go back-to-back and win a title, because in 2004, he defeated Rey Mysterio. Now 2005, he wins the Cruiserweight title again. I give this 1 thumb up, mainly because my complaint about this was that, except for the beginning and the end of the matchup, it felt like everything was just on fast-forward. It felt like after the first elimination, boom, here comes the next elimination. Boom, next one. Boom, next one. Boom, next one. Until Chavo Guerrero kind of got into it, and then it was kind of like, okay, now we got time. Let's actually make a little bit more of a matchup here. So that was just my main complaint, was that it felt like it was just too fast. This is the matchup I would have given more time to by cutting out the Heidenreich and Booker T match.
Absolutely. This was our Velocity match of the week, and these were all performers that would be regularly wrestling each other on Velocity, putting on some very, very good matches. I forgot Funaki was ever the Cruiserweight champion, but I think he defeated Kid Cash for the title, if I'm not mistaken.
Nope, he defeated Spike Dudley.
Spike, I think, because Kid Cash had the title at some point. Maybe this is later.
Yeah, way later, but yes.
Okay, so Paul London was coming out in my attire that I dubbed the Ultimate Tornado, with the little tassels on the boots, and trying to get some shouting and stomping over it. The crowd wasn't really responding to Paul, and it was really bothering me, because this is your most talented cruiserweight other than maybe Akio. And Akio and Paul London, that is an amazing and underrated feud they had, which was relegated to Velocity once again, and they had some great matches, including one in Japan where Akio won, but it was non-title. We'll see what I have. That time, Tom Brady. I didn't realize Tom Brady was this must have been his rookie season. He was playing in 05. My goodness, he's been around the block. We have and spiked out these Titantron, the boss, lol. That mule kick that London did, I think, I looked up I used to have his wiki, like, almost not memorized, but I would, like, know the names of his moves. He called that one the Mushroom Stomp, and he was trying to get Stomp the Musical over in this match, but, as I said, wasn't responding. But what I loved about this match is that he was on fire, and this was the catalyst of him getting the Cruiserweight Championship the following month on Battle Royal on SmackDown, and I marked out so hard. There was a really nice inverted tarantula by Akio in this match. We had that super neck breaker. Holy crap. And then Chavo was just easy picking, and he pulled a Guerrero. He did a little bit of lying, cheating, and stealing. London could go, and this was a match that proved it. And I was kind of hoping after this that Paul London would have a match with Chavo at WrestleMania, but Paul London had a quick little cameo in one of those little WWE does Hollywood commercials, so I was satisfied.
Yeah, no, definitely. We have a WrestleMania recall in which they discussed the gimmick battle royal, which was won by the Iron Sheik. It was a pretty good battle royal, to say the least. Oh, God, help me. Here we go. Ready, ladies and gentlemen, for round 2. It's the Rookie Diva Contest, part 2 of this. It's the talent part. Yay! So, first, they basically talk, like, okay, you're going to have this much time to do talent, show what you can do, blah, blah, blah. So we start off with Joy Giovanni, who says that she wants to do, she wants to go on to say that her talent was a massage, and she wants to massage Tori. To which she also decides, in order for me to do a massage, I need to show my pretty pink bra. Yeah. Yeah, and it barely... And I literally have on here, Joy Massage, ? Giant letters, WTF, ... Because that massage did not even look pleasant at all. It literally just looked like something where you could just, do like a light touch of the arm. That's what it looked like. I'm like... So, redeeming quality for this entire deal is indeed Dawn Marie, because she literally has a comment where she's like, "What was that? You call yourself a massage therapist? I could give a better rub than that." And then Tori with the zinger saying, "That's right, if you don't believe her, ask any guy in the locker room." To which I'm just like, damn. That's
I
good.
got to look for this.
That's good. Next up is Rochelle. She comes out and she tells cringeworthy jokes. I'm just like, yeah, this is as bad as I remember it. Damn it. Even Dawn's just like, yeah, the only joke is you, honey. To which I'm just like, again, point to Dawn Marie. Exactly. So Lauren Jones, she comes out and she decides to do dancing, to which is like, okay, so we actually might have a little bit of a talent. As soon as she was done dancing, my jaw was kind of like, I don't remember her being this good. I'm actually legitimately impressed by this. And there was the one time where Dawn Marie has a moment where she just says, "Don't quit your day job, honey," to which I'm like, shut up, she was awesome. Lauren might be my favorite. Then out comes Michelle McCool, who says that, her talent is going to be something a little more physical because she's tired of somebody running their mouth. To which Dawn Marie just gets slammed to the ground. It's like, okay, at least we got a little wrestling out of this. That's awesome. So that was round 2. Honestly, guys, Joy didn't have a talent. That was a skill. Rochelle didn't know how to tell jokes. Lauren knows how to dance, which is awesome. And Michelle is getting her early training down. I actually gave this one a nice, beautiful heart. Just because of the fact that Lauren and Michelle saved that whole entire deal. We go backstage and we have JBL talking about the cage match, to where he basically says, "I know that I'm not going to be looking the same way as I walk into that steel cage." And he talks blah, blah, blah. It says, "I am a wrestling god." because that's what he truly believes in himself. Next matchup we have is Luther Reigns, not Roman Reigns, no relation at all, I guarantee you, taking on The Undertaker. Basically how this has been built up is that Luther has been saying that this is his yard now. Way too much like Roman Reigns. Okay then. So, before the matchup even starts, Mark Jindrak, who wanted to get revenge on The Undertaker for the beatdown that he had on Thursday, he gets ejected out of it. And Undertaker has been dealing with a bit of a possible concussion because of the fact that Luther Reigns took a camera from a camera guy and he hit Undertaker in the back of the skull with it. To which I'm just like, ooh, I forgot about that. So the two of them kind of brawl early on. Undertaker gets a nice little old school on Luther Reigns. Referee gets that whole scared off deal, like where Undertaker's just going crazy. And then he just gets the referee to just run away like a coward. It's great. Luther Reigns gets thrown into the exposed turnbuckle on the back that Luther Reigns exposed, which I'm just like, damn, that sucks. This allows him to set up, Undertaker to set up for the dead man leg drop, as I like to call it. Luther Reigns, he finally gets a little bit more of a advantage after he hits a low blow and then hits Undertaker's back of his head onto the exposed turnbuckle. Ooh, was that brutal. Luther Reigns, jeez Louise, I almost called him Roman. Luther Reigns does this half crab, and he also applies a foot to the head of The Undertaker. I believe that's illegal, in my opinion, but that's just me. Luther actually does this standing spear that looked absolutely just brutal the way he delivered it, and I'm just like, ooh, that's rough. There's a bit of a sloppy clothesline there by The Undertaker. Undertaker does a little bit of a sloppy snake eyes to Luther Reigns. He hits a brutal chokeslam on Luther Reigns, to which I'm like, okay, now we're getting into some of the good stuff. Looks like Undertaker's going to go for the tombstone. Luther Reigns counters into his swing neckbreaker, which still looks just nasty the way he hits it. But it only gets him a 2 count. He goes to set up for the neckbreaker again, but Undertaker counters into the DDT, hits the tombstone piledriver on Luther, pins him 1, 2, 3. I gave this one a thumbs up. I honestly was thinking that this matchup was going to suck, other than a couple sloppy moments. I was impressed. I honestly thought to myself, wow, they kind of made Luther Reigns look like he was a legit badass during this matchup, and he actually held his own quite a bit. Like I said, maybe a couple sloppy deals, a couple weird moments, but he definitely held his own against The Undertaker here. And it was kind of rough. It was kind of tough to see that they couldn't really do that much with him after this. But yeah, no, it actually impressed me. Fretz, what do you got to say?
Well, before that, I know you're the one asking the random question of the week, but I got a bit of a trivia for you.
Okay.
So Luther Reigns, around this time, had a brief stint in a movie. I'll give you a hint. It's a comedy, and it stars, I believe, Alicia Cuthbert.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Girl Next Door. Ever heard of that movie?
Oh, is that the one? No, that wasn't. I thought that was the one with... No, wait, that was Jennifer Lopez years after. Must be... Sounds familiar, but maybe I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah, it's just this guy. I think the premise of this movie is this guy wants... This high school nerdy kid, he wants to have a prom date, and it's the hot girl next door, but it turns out she does porn or something like that. And Luther plays like a bouncer or something. So,
oh, okay.
And he falls through a cake made of boobs or something, or lube. I don't know what it was. It was weird. So we had Luther Reigns coming out to a slowed down version of Crash Holly's theme. It was brutal. Jindrak was. He was the only bright spot in this, and I'm like, I was a big fan of Jindrak. Thought he had a lot of upside in WCW, but as soon as he did the whole narcissist gimmick, nope, that's over for him. What do we have? Taker refused the medical facility Because he's dead.
That makes sense.
Luther Reigns is basically the new Nathan Jones because they bring up some kind of prison past, and I didn't really bother to see if it was kayfabe or not. Nathan Jones's was not. Very not kayfabe. It's like, something solitary confinement. I'm like, nah, you're full of crap. And his indie name was Horseshoe, Horshu. I don't get it, but I was on all the message boards at this point in time, and everyone was putting this guy over. Like, he was in MLW. Oh, Horseshoe. Dude, this guy sucks. And then there's Luther Reigns absolutely botching the Crossroads. Like, that was worse than the time MJF hit it the first time. Woof. That's all I can say about that match. Woof.
Okay. All right, fair enough. 0 woofs out of 40 wolves. All right, so next up is the third and final, thank God, round of the Rookie Diva contest, and it's a swimsuit competition. So, Joy Giovanni, she comes out. It's like, okay, this is a nice swimsuit. And then she reveals the fact that she's wearing a freaking thong. Of course she does. Because, like Carmella said, she's a mom, she has baby. What a great role model you are, Mom. To which I'm just like, yeah, doing kids proud. Rochelle Lowen, she has kind of like this more revealing swimsuit on there. And I will say this, that one thing I do recall from this deal was that she kind of almost lost her step when she was showcasing her swimsuit. On the network, they actually just keep it on Joy Giovanni because obviously they don't want to show that. Lauren Jones, she looked absolutely great, and honestly, she was my favorite in the entire deal. I would have voted for her. And then there was Michelle McCool, who she came out, she showed off her swimsuit and then did like a kind of like a backflip deal. It was one of those things where I literally just said, she deserves to win. And then I'm reminded, the only thing that matters about being a diva back in the day was beauty. Joy Giovanni wins the Rookie Diva contest by an insurmountable route because horny people love big boobs, they love the revealing stuff, and she showed off a thong. Just, damn it. Why? Alright, so let's get into something that probably matters. Alright, next up we have the tournament finals for the WWE number 1 contendership match. It's Kurt Angle versus John Cena. Again, hype package is absolutely amazing. We hear Enemy by Fozzy. It's great. So basically how this tournament came about is that John Cena had to go through Orlando Jordan and Booker T to get to where he was at. For Kurt Angle, he only had to go through Rey Mysterio because the match between Rene Dupree and Undertaker was in a double countout because Luther Reigns and Mark Jindrak decided, you know what, we're going to interfere in this matchup. So, great hype package where basically Kurt Angle is not even, it's just thinking, you know what, I'm not even thinking about you, Cena, I'm thinking about main eventing my 3rd WrestleMania, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. We see some great back and forth at the start, a German suplex to the top turnbuckle on the back of the head. That just, it just looks rough. That was just very, very rough. Angle just starts doing the whole wear down on John Cena, including hitting a triple German suplex on Cena. Cena gets covered, 1, 2, and he grabs the bottom rope. A very rare spot. You don't really see John Cena using the rope that much. I did notice this in the crowd. There was a Ruck Cena sign in there. For those that don't understand where that comes from, you might remember the T-shirt that John Cena had when he came back at Armageddon, where it said "Ruck Fools." I'm gonna let that sink in there, and then you can come back and figure that out. All right, so John Cena, he starts to make a comeback, and he hits a spine buster, which, oh my gosh, I forgot that John Cena used to do spine busters every now and then. Kurt Angle, he would go into doing this beautiful victory roll counter of the FU into the ankle lock, which helped him win one of his matches against John Cena in the past. Cena hitting his first ever diving leg drop from the top rope, probably in quite some time. He would finally get the FU, and I'm going to tell you this right now. This is one of the first few times where I'm just like, wow, we're not seeing the 5 moves of doom that we used to see, where he goes shoulder tackle, power bomb, you can't see me, and then hits the FU. No, he's just hitting a lot of these moves just kind of out of nowhere. So he hits the first FU, 1, 2, Angle kicks out. Kurt Angle then goes to work on the knee and the ankle of John Cena. That includes just doing like chop blocks and stomps and stuff like that. It looks like it sucked. We see the Angle slam, ankle lock combo. Cena is just doing everything he can to not tap out. Now, there comes a point where John Cena gets locked into the grapevine, and this is where we see kind of like the early stages of the never give up motto by John Cena later on. Cena's not tapping out. He grabs the bottom rope. Kurt Angle is just getting frustrated. Like, no, he had to tap out. He had to tap out. The referee gets knocked down during this whole confusion, and people are chanting, HBK, HBK, HBK. Why? Because Shawn Michaels had a chance at the Royal Rumble. He knocks out Kurt Angle out of the matchup. Kurt Angle decides, nope, you're not going to WrestleMania either. Throws him out, beats down on Shawn Michaels, and locks him into the ankle lock on the steel chair. So people are expecting, oh, he's going to come out, and he's going to just, take that. He's going to cost Kurt Angle the deal. Angle, he's getting frustrated. He grabs John Cena's lock, turns around. John Cena just bolts towards him, pushes him into the turnbuckle, hits a second FU. 1, 2, 3. Cena gets the victory. He's going to WrestleMania. And I gave this one 2 gorilla thumbs up. Love the matchup. I love the chemistry that Kurt Angle and John Cena showcased in this matchup. Only complaint was another situation where it could have gone just maybe a bit longer. I think that there was a lot more storytelling that they could have done with this matchup, but in all honesty, it was still really good. It was still like the second best matchup of the entire show. So, Fretz, I know we've been hyping this matchup quite a bit. Your thoughts on Kurt Angle versus John Cena?
First off, I used to have that Kurt Angle shirt he was wearing on his way to the ring.
Oh, I just want to know.
Yeah, I purchased it actually at WWE Niagara Falls a couple of months after this event. It was, I loved it. I'm disappointed that shirt is long since ruined. See Angle with a whole lot of mat wrestling, and I see a whole lot of Nate's finger on the screen right now, so that's cool. Scrolling through the notes. We have that spot with the German suplex into the buckle. Damn. Like, that put Seth Rollins' buckle bomb to shame. See, we have an FU that almost got a 3, and throughout this whole match, I loved that Kurt was targeting the ankle so much so that when John Cena hit the FU that finished the match, that it almost looked kind of botchy, but it was more out of desperation, and I have to hit this thing really quick so I don't put pressure and weight on this bad ankle. Ow, I'm hurting. So that, I thought, was really, really great. I just knocked my headphones. Really great knot in the story, and I'm looking at Tony Chimmel, who, okay, first off here, am I crazy, or do I hear when Chimmel says championship, it sounds like he's saying championship?
He probably is, at this point.
I thought that since the day I first heard him ring announce in, 1996. Like, what is he saying? And he did, the, John Cena. Justin Roberts, you ripped him off. LOL, JK. I love Justin Roberts. I want to read his book, by the way. I heard it's really good. I think this was my match of the night. I'll give it
2 gold
two
medals.
Beers I'll give it 2 2-4s out of 2 for a beer.
Fair enough. Alright, so finally we reach the main event, and it's a WWE Championship matchup contested in a barbed wire steel cage. So basically how they were doing this is that Teddy Long is tired of all these freaking, interferences and stuff like that. So he says, okay, we're going to just cut that out. It's not going to happen. We're going to do a steel cage match, and it's going to be surrounded by barbed wire to ensure that nobody gets in and nobody gets out, evidently. And also during this hype package, they definitely do talk about how it seems like JBL is just provoking Batista to the point where JBL, quote-unquote, almost runs him over with the limousine. Batista comes on SmackDown. He just destroys the limousine, rips off the horns, stuff like that. We get that pretty awesome stare down where Big Show and Batista, they're looking at each other, but then they slowly turn their heads and look at JBL, and JBL's like, oh, crap. So they mentioned the fact that the door is going to be locked. Gee, I wonder how long that's going to last. So Big Show, JBL, they get in the mat, they get in the cage. It is basically like two heavy hitters just, fighting against each other back and forth, just trying to get the advantage on each other. JBL just looking for like weak points where it's not working out for him at all. There even comes a point where he looks like he kind of cuts his arm a bit, feeling like the sharpness of the barbed wire or something like that. You and I talked about chops, and one of the things that you said was Big Show versus Walter chops. During this match, we just see these brutal chops from Big Show. And you want to stop me just for a minute.
I am so sorry, but speaking of Big Show's chops, okay, so I was watching this, it was this little blurb with Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy.
Yeah.
And he was talking about him having a relationship with wrestlers because he loves wrestling. He's like, Hulk Hogan and Andre WrestleMania 3, I was hooked. So he's friends with the Big Show, and he has a Netflix series coming up called The Big Show Show. How original.
Right.
So they have this bit where he's got a couple of his friends or producers or some of his constituents where be like, okay, so we're going to take a Big Show chop. So these fellas are fluffy, like Gabriel himself is, and the Big Show just goes in like right in the chest. It didn't look hard, but Big Show's 7 feet tall, and you can teach that, Cass. And very, very, very shredded. So it left a mark on him. One guy, it's like he stood there and absorbed it, but you can see like all the fat ripple on him when it hit him. And the next guy, luckily, was standing up in front of a couch because he just went back, and the head was tattooed just right in the chest here, and that is why Walter and the Big Show should be in chops. That was like just a couple hours before you and I started recording, and when we got to the Big Show, it just came to my mind. I had to mention it. Please seek it out, everyone who's hearing this, on Gabriel Iglesias' YouTube page, and watch his Netflix show. It's funny.
So, Big Show gets tossed into the cage by JBL, and this causes him to get busted open. JBL goes for this nice shoulder block from the top rope, which you barely do see from him. JBL is able to grab one of the tag ropes. He's choking out Big Show. No DQ. Why not? Show has JBL up for a powerbomb. He actually goes back and he makes sure that JBL hits his head on the one of the support beams of the cage. He powerbombs him down, and that busts open JBL. By this point, it looks like both men are just exhausted. Show does a catapult to JBL into the cage, so that there's a little more, brutality to this. The Cabinet, Orlando Jordan, and the Basham Brothers, they interfere. Teddy Long is making sure that those guys are getting out, but not before JBL. He hands some bolt cutters by Orlando Jordan. So JBL has these bolt cutters. He just clunks it into the head of the Big Show. Only gets a 2 count. He gets chokeslammed by Big Show for only a 2 count. Then JBL hits a low blow and gets a big boot to the face of Big Show for another 2. He gets the bolt cutters. He starts trying to, cut his way out of there. But unfortunately, Big Show is behind him, and he drops the bolt cutters. Then we see a little bit of back and forth deal. Big Show grabs JBL, picks him up, choke slams him into the ring, and he goes through the ring to where it's like, oh damn, it looks like JBL is dead. Now, logic would dictate, hey, maybe just pull him up to the ring part of it and then cover him. 1, 2, 3. No, Big Show just decides, you know what, I'm going to escape the cage. Why? You can't get through the door. Big Show's just like, hold my beer. He grabs the lock chain, and he is just tugging on it to the point where also he just screams out, ah! Breaks the chain. It's done. He opens the door, and everybody's just assuming, oh my gosh, Big Show has won. Big Show's going to WrestleMania. Blah, 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 blah. And me as a kid, I'm just like, hey, JBL's reign of terror is over. Yay! And then we hear Tony Chimmel. The winner of this match and still WWE Champion, John Bradshaw Layfield. And all I'm thinking to myself is it illegal for him to go out of the cage door? I'm thinking that as a kid, like, how did that happen? And then there's JBL. He's on the floor, magically. Well, sort of. So, they showed a replay that as Big Show is getting out of the cage, JBL is just crawling from that spot that he was at to the outside of the cage. So, that's how he's won the match. And, yeah, he basically crawls through the floor. So, that happens. JBL retains. For the nostalgia and for the, I guess you could say, some parts of brutality for it, I gave it a thumbs up. I thought that there were some moments in there where I was like, oh, geez, that's still pretty cool. But for the most part, I was winded as much as they were. I was kind of just like, I already saw a lot of these great matches, and I kind of enjoyed a lot of stuff. But it was hard for me to get into this main event deal. It just, I don't know, something about it just seemed off. That was just me, but I don't know. Fretz, what do you have to say about this match?
It sucked.
Okay, then.
I was not a fan of this match, although there was a couple of parts in here that gave me a good chuckle. The tag rope coming into play, and what the hell is a tag rope? I'm like, why? Is this so people know what part of the ring to stand on when they're in a tag match?
I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into this if and when I get to a part when I'm not able to sleep tonight, which probably shouldn't be a thing because that's a brand spanking new mattress I haven't even broke in yet. So, I'm gonna look into that big time. Big Show's powerbomb was amazing right here. OJ and the Bashman's getting in here, and Teddy. I love how Teddy came out and he said, "Hold on, player. I assured America there was going to be no shenanigans." Hello, Canada here. What about us? What about me? What about Canada? What about Raven?
What about your wall?
Are we chopped poutine here or what? So he's like, "I'd get to step," and I love that line. I love that line.
God.
I have to start using that now. I love the bolt cutters spot. That was really interesting. Chokeslam through the ring. That's not the first time Big Show's done that to somebody. I believe he did it who did he do it to? Did it to Taker or Kane in 1999.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I do remember that.
And then Big Show in Full Circle Moment, he is another person who broke the Master Lock Challenge here at No Way Out. And the Big Show steps out, and then, you could see him exacerbated, but at least he didn't cry. If there's anyone who can do a good cry, it's the Big Show. Oh, my goodness. JBL sticking under the ring. Okay, points for creativity. So that moves my that moves my clock, my thumb clock, from 6 o'clock to about 3. So it's a Cesaro thumb in the middle, right there, just for that creativity alone, and for taking a choke slam through the ring, for for a Haas match that in ring would have been actually really bad. They made something out of it, but nah, man, it's the sneaking under the ring. That was funny. JBL was a perfect chicken shit heel, so I'll give him that. Batista isn't in my league. Yeah, because Batista is in the minor leagues, and you, sir, aren't even in AAA. And that's a baseball reference. That one's for you, Will.
Yeah. So,
boom.
So after the matchup commences, Big Show's just deciding, I'm just going to beat down JBL some more. Cabinet comes in. They're just thinking, no, we got to protect our boss, which, in all honesty, they're kind of doing their job, so you can't really boo that, but they will. But then out comes the Royal Rumble winner, Batista. Not in a suit, but he's in his gear. He is just ready to rock and roll. He beats down on the Bashams. He actually takes one punch from Orlando, does like this rebound deal, and then clotheslines him. I thought that was cool. I was just kind of like, oh shit. He basically just said like, oh yeah, I'll just take a little featherweight punch and then just kill you with my arm. And even as a kid, I still did this as an adult, because I was doing this as a kid when he does a spine buster to one of the Basham brothers. It's just like, wee, poink, down, wee, poink, done. Then he decides to hit one of them with the Batista bomb. He's just looking over at JBL, and it's almost like, yeah, I'm coming for your title. JBL's just like backtracking, like, no, just stay away. But then, right behind him is John Cena, who decides, I'm going to beat you down now. He beats him down a bit, hits him with a spine buster, sending him to the stage, and we get that awesome stare down to end the event, where it's just John Cena and Batista just staring at each other. Cena knows he's going to WrestleMania, but there's that question of, is Batista going to go to SmackDown? Is he going to try and win the WWE Championship? Answer, no. He decides to do the classic thumbs up, thumbs down to Triple H and to Ric Flair, and he challenges for the world title at WrestleMania 21. That was just a great moment. I might need to watch that now, just for the nostalgia again, to watch it. So all in all, No Way Out was a relatively decent event. I mean, this was kind of one of those events where I'm always expecting like a lot of really crappy matches or stuff like that. This was one of the first few times where, like, other than the Rookie Diva Search stuff, which had some promise to it, the Heidenreich Booker T match was the only one that kind of was the major complaint where it's like, oh, why is this a thing? I did mention that there were a couple matches that could have been a little bit longer, but all in all, not a bad show. I'm kind of impressed by that.
Yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable show. It was easy. It was easy to watch, although I watched it in like a couple of sittings. I really liked the cruiserweight match. I wish it would have went longer. You could have saved Booker T and Heidenreich for like the pre-show, but other than that, it wasn't bad. I mean, brand exclusive pay-per-views were starting to lose a bit of their luster. I mean, this wasn't a bad year for them. I mean, this wasn't the Judgment Day coming up that had the cement with Paul Bearer. Instead, what we got was a great cruiserweight title match between Paul London and Chavo Guerrero, as well as John Cena defend. Who did that? That's way down the line. Maybe that's another review. But easy to watch. Crappy main event. Stupid poetry. Taking the dump during the Divas worthy Divas thing. This wasn't when Give Divas a Chance was a thing, but I'm like, yeah, Joy Giovanni, boobs, whatever.
This is like give Divas up. It's like give Divas up. Give me a minute.
Okay, Otis, I'm coming.
Well, he might be on Friday. We never know. All right, so we got a little bit of time left to go through the card for NXT TakeOver Portland. We'll just go into predictions for this. Basically, just jumping fire on this one. So, first one we have is the street fight between Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. Let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dakota Kai. Yeah, I kind of had a feeling. It just feels like she deserves this win. Next up, we have Finn Balor versus Johnny Gargano on 3. 1, 2, 3. Johnny Gargano.
Finn Balor.
Oh, damn, we're in a difference of opinion. Next up, we have the NXT Tag Team title matchup. The Broserweights taking on Undisputed Era. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Broserweights. Yep. We have the North American Championship matchup between Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. 1, 2, 3. King Ricky 2.0.
King Ricky.
We have the same exact thought. Oh my gosh. I love you, Fretz. Next up, we have the NXT Women's Championship matchup in which we have Rhea Ripley taking on Bianca Belair. 1, 2, 3.
No contest.
Ripley. No contest. Okay.
Charlotte Flair.
Okay, that actually would make sense. I say Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Then finally, the main event, more than likely, will be for the NXT Championship matchup. Adam Cole, baby, defending against Tommaso Ciampa. I like to call him Daddy Ciampa, and he's the only one I'll call Daddy Ciampa, but whatever. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Tommaso Ciampa by DQ.
Oh.
I think that's going to be a situation where Adam Cole is going to just find a way to just make sure that the title belt stays with him by any means necessary, and it is going to build up towards the WrestleMania matchup between him and Cole, because we predicted it already. But anyway, so those are the quick deals for that. All right, I think you mentioned you had a New Japan deal that you wanted to talk about.
You know what? Let's put a pin in that and save it for next week. We're almost 2 3/4 in, so yeah, bed will soon call. I do want to talk about it next week because I'll give the peeps here a week to figure it out. I know Zach would have done a detailed report of this on his show, but seek out the Moxley versus Suzuki match because they killed each other and they talked trash, and then they resurrected each other with PCO's car battery. Thank you, Destro. And then they killed each other again. I mean, it's not as violent as I'm making it out to be, but it was just so entertaining. And they were both just like, yeah, bring it on, mofo, come on. And Suzuki saying probably cuss words in Japanese. Yeah, seek it out. It was really good. And I'll say a quick little spoiler. Well, not a spoiler, but we're going to be getting Zack Sabre Jr. versus Jon Moxley in the future.
I do agree with that.
My veins.
Sounds good. All right. So before we leave you guys, we got 2 segments that we got to do. It's time to talk about our Game Changer of the Week. And Mr. Fretz, who have you got for this week?
Well, this one's going to be a bit of a twofer. But first off, I will give it to if I get this person's name wrong, I apologize. Caleficent, seamstress of all evil, who is of course the spouse of Nyla Rose, the new women's champion from AEW. Congratulations. Well, I don't want to say the word unsurprisingly, but this is wrestling Twitter. This is social media we're talking about. After Nyla won the title, her and Caleficent, I think Caleficent identifies also as female. If I'm wrong, please politely call me out. Mother of little monsters. Okay, she does. So they got a whole whack of hate tweets and transphobic and sexist and garbage from people. And you know what? She of course it's pissed off. She's like, hey, back off. Don't be a dick. Some people just don't know when to STFU. I'm not going to sit here and read her timeline because it just wouldn't be fair to her. She had to set her damn Twitter to private because people were just being absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
No. And I'll give it that she took it in stride. We had a lot of people, including myself, coming in and just rallying around her and Nyla. There's this one tweet that just almost set me over the edge, but it was giving them their shoot names, where their location is from, and the original name that of Nyla before she changed genders. I don't know the scientific term for that, but the right term for that, but that their former name, I'll say their male name.
Okay.
I say you don't do that. You absolutely do not do that, and it's my good. And just I knew as soon as it happened. I went on Facebook and it's like, AEW, congratulations, Nyla Rose. Angry emoji. Vince Vaughn, she's a man gif. No. And I'm going to give it to Nyla Rose as well because, well, the first person that I know of who is transgender and is a women's wrestling champion, that is game-changing. That is groundbreaking. And I think it's something positive for people who have, is it dysphoria?
I think that's what it's called.
Okay, who have that issue, or people who don't identify, or people who are non-binary. I'm not. This is very fragile grounds for me. I'm not familiar with it. I only know like 3 people. Well, maybe I'll also include Mix Murphy, who are either transgender or non-binary. I still don't know what non-binary means. I would like to be educated politely about that, but be able to research it myself because I'm curious. Just because I want to say the right things. I don't want to come across as being anything phobic because that's not how I roll. So both of these people, for those reasons, and just because they are wonderful human beings who, well, understandably mad, but they're taking this a lot better than some people would think. So, got to give it to Nyla and whatever her actual name is, Caleficent, the seamstress of all evil. Fantastic people. So, there we go.
There we go.
Shout out to you two. Big hugs to you guys. Girls, I'm sorry.
Well, I knew it. You knew what you meant. It wasn't one of those things where it was just, directly towards that. But, yeah, we're good. So, all right, random question of the week to close off the show. And this will be something that both of us will answer. Since it is the month of love, quote unquote, I think it's kind of. I think it would be kind of funny to talk about this. What was the worst date that you had ever been on? And I'm not talking about, just being like stood up or something like that. Like literally made contact with the girl. Whatever happens after that is basically the date. And I'll tell you mine like right off the bat. I was 14. I believe I was either 14 or it was 15 or 16. There we go. And I was working as a game room attendant, and I did that little cute little note deal where gave it to a girl, and it basically said, would you go out with me, blah blah blah. What I didn't know is that the girl that I gave it to, her mother worked in the same hotel that I was working at, so she came after me, and she said, "Did you ask my daughter out?" And already I was just going into like, yes, and I'm sorry that I did this, but she was really cool. She literally was like, no, I'm not mad, I'm not upset or anything like that. That she basically just said, what were my intentions, what was, the plan, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, maybe just like a movie or something like that. And she said, okay, that's fine. So, we never had like a one-on-one date, but we did have like this kind of like group dates where we're hanging out with a bunch of friends, stuff like that. I don't even remember what the movie was, but all I remember from that date was that she and I did not interact one time. We did not interact at all. And it was kind of one of those things where I'm with a group of people that I have no idea who they are, so it's kind of like I'm in that kind of weird, awkward stage as a preteen, just like, yes, to watch a movie. I was so ready to get out of there. I was ready to bolt. So that was one of the more awkward, as well as one of the more worst dates that I can remember. That's the one that kind of stands out to me for that. Please tell me you don't have one that could top that, Fretz.
I don't. I had one relationship in high school. We were together for, I think, about a year and a half. And all of our dates were fine. And then I had, let's see, I didn't have anything until after, so we broke up in 2002. I didn't have anything until 2010. So, hey, 10 years ago, my goodness. And there was one semester when I dated two girls.
Damn.
One ended before it began, and we knew it was a bad idea, but she played the hypothetical game with me.
Huh.
You don't do that to me.
No.
You don't. You don't fuck with my heart. Ever. And well after we split up, we still hung out as friends.
Okay.
And I still was fighting feelings for her, and then finally, maybe 4 years later, she came and visited me here. This isn't the date, by the way. This isn't that story. So I finally got closure. I'm like, okay, I really have to know why we didn't work out. And I forget what her answer was. It was good enough closure for me. It was just we weren't mature enough. We weren't in the right spaces. She's married now, lives in BC. So shout out to, I'm not saying your name, and you don't even know that this exists because we don't speak anymore, obviously. But I'll tell you the last date I was on.
Okay.
And it was after this person, because this next person, we were already mutual friends at the Bible college. Somehow we got each other's numbers. I think I got hers somehow. I forget how it worked out, but we were hitting it off. We were always texting. We were like, oh yeah, da, 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 da. And then we finally went on our first date. It went very well. Then we would hang out a couple of times. She was a commuter, so she didn't live on res. And then we go on a second date, and we're like, okay, we're gonna go see a movie with this other couple of friends. They were sweet enough. The movie we saw was terrible. It was Premonition.
Oh no.
And I remember, I was trying to be both polite, but also, I was nervous, so I would, at some point in the time, we reached over and we actually, we held hands, it's cute, but then there was these two teenage girls behind us, and they wouldn't stop giggling throughout the whole thing, and I don't do confrontation. I let it slide for a while, for most of the movie. Then finally, they were quiet for a while, and then awkward silence. One of the girls behind us, they start giggling, and I'm just like, okay, for one thing, seriously, girl, get your butt checked out. That stank. And I'm like, okay, do you mind? Seriously. So we go to Starbucks afterwards. We were hitting it off. We were hopefully doing fine. And then, 2 weeks later, she text dumps me. So,
wow.
For no reason. It's just like, oh, hey, it's like, hey, hon, I hope you're feeling better. And it's like, I could see the writing on the wall, because we had plans to go on a double date with another good friend and go to our Bible college Christmas production. Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe don't call me hon. I'm just like, maybe you're having a bad day. Yeah, I got homework to do. You're sick. I'll text you after. And then she used the, you might not understand this if you haven't spent a lot of time in Christian circles, but she used the cop-out, I don't think it's God's will line on me.
Oh, wow.
And then, it gets better. So that next morning, I had to preach Sunday school. then in church, there is a hymn, not a hymn, but a worship song called "Blessed Be the Name of the Lord," and there's the outro chorus is, you give and take away, and I'm sitting there just like fighting back the tears. I go back to my dorm. I put a "Do Not Disturb for any reason" sign on my door, and my friends didn't respect it for the most part. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out the fire exit with my giant headphones on, go to Wild Wing, get 10 pounds of wings, and have a big old cry in my room. Since then, I haven't had a lick. Well, I had one that ended before it began again, but then we didn't ever talk about it. Yeah, so other than my one good long relationship that I blew, probably, not the best of luck, and I guess I don't, and on the plus side, I don't have that many bad date stories, so yeah, Valentines can eat a dick, and even if I was in a relationship, I'd say, hey, you know what? Sure, we'll go out to, well, no, we will not go out to dinner because every restaurant in the county will be packed. Let's just sit here, watch a movie. I'll cook. I'm a damn good cook, ladies. Hint, hint. And there we go. So there's pros and cons to that, but I'm socially awkward. I'm like, I still don't know how to profess my likeness for a girl. So I'm just like, you know what? If something falls into my lap, not literally, cool. But I'm good with being single. I'm good with being a role model for my niece and nephew. At least I hope I can be one. But yeah, that's long. That's short story long, but
right. There we go. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this wonderful edition of the Game Changer Podcast, where we also have gotten another chapter written from us about our lives, and hopefully you enjoyed that. I'll have to think about another crazy question next time around, but you got next week, so very curious to see how that was. So for us here at the Game Changer Podcast, at least from us, for WrestleAddict Radio, happy Valentine's Day to you. Hopefully you're spending it with your loved ones. From me and Fretz at the Game Changer Podcast, this holiday sucks ass. We don't like it. We're like the Grinches of Valentine's Day, which I'm okay with. I'll literally be that one person who's just like, bleh. Well, you can't say humbug because that's against Christmas. There's got to be like some kind of random word against Valentine's Day.
Love hurts.
You know what? That works too. So, hey, love hurts. And, yeah, don't be like me or Fretz and have your heart broken. Best way to do that, just stay at home, eat a lot of chocolate, wings, ice cream, watch some good comedy. And hey, listen to us on the Game Changer Podcast as well as the rest of us at WrestleAddict Radio. So, Mr. Fretz, I've been NateFNGreat. Thank you so much for joining in. Like I said before, you can check us out on so many different podcasting formats, including Anchor.com, Spreaker.com, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, freaking CastBox, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. The list just goes on and on and on and on of where you can find us. So much stuff going on with our Patreon. All it is just $5, you guys. That is literally the price of a sub back in the good old days. Now it's like $20 just to get one sub from Subway. I can't believe that. It feels like it. It's also the land of inconvenience. If you don't believe me, ask Aaron Hansen from the Game Grumps. Shout out to you guys. Feel free to come on the show whenever you want. Yeah, other than that, WrestleMania season is looming. It's getting closer. And we are just on the fast track to Elimination Chamber because we're not going to talk about Super Showdown. No. I definitely do want to mention this. If anybody is in the Chicago area for AEW Revolution, like I said, I will be at the event. Definitely come by, say hi. If you want to take a picture together, that's awesome. I love talking to people who are big fans of podcasting as well as professional wrestling. I'm not going to be that stubby person that's going to be like, oh, no, you didn't get nothing from me. No, I'm one of the nicest guys that you will ever meet. Come on over. Give a hug. Let's take pictures. Let's talk. Whatever you guys like to do, let's do it. And it's going to be awesome going to AEW Revolution. We'll definitely have like a little bit of a pre-show in regards to that. But, yeah, I think that it's going to be a pretty interesting weekend. We have NXT TakeOver Portland, as well as just everything else going on the road to WrestleMania. And it's going to be a great deal, guys. So thank you so much for listening in. Hopefully you enjoyed the podcast as well as the retrospective. And be sure to follow us at the Legendary JF, at RealFNGame, at Attic_Wrestle, Kings of the Ring podcast, as well as the Young Lions Perspective. We'll check you guys out later. And, yeah, Valentine's Day can suck it.